It's a new time, a new place. But these guys have done this before.
I had no idea we were going to draft Blaine Gabbert. Did your jaw just drop?
Yeah, it did. Did you sense the silence?
I doubt Gene Smith was on Twitter.
I don't know. You never know, man. Gene Smith might have a couple burner accounts out there.
Look at these media guys. These are the weakest people on earth.
Why do I think he's talking to me and not
Brent,
6'6", 245 Austen Lane
Brent, are
right
you
now?
listening right now?
It's Austen Lane.
You're taking away my comfort food in the most uncomfortable year of all time.
It's Brent Martineau.
We call it a Minshew Monday here on Action Sports Shacks. But those are more crapshoot picks, man. I mean, you can get Telvin Smith and you can get, oh, yeah.
From Jacksonville to wherever you stream, watch, and listen. Welcome to the Brent and Austin Show.
Hey, welcome into a midweek on the Brent and Austin Show. That is Wednesday, week number 3. I don't know why I keep counting the weeks. Like, we're rocking and rolling, man. We are moving and grooving and looking forward to what's about to happen next week as we launch this Action Sports Shacks 24/7 stream. Be at the Combine on that day as well. I don't know if that was ideal planning, but we're going to roll it out anyway and see what happens. Brent Martineau Austen Lane, Jason Hamby. Happy Wednesday to you, everybody. Hope you're doing fantastic. A beautiful day in Jacksonville. And hey, we're talking football a week away from the Combine. Absolutely. We've got a lot of different things going on around the sports world, which I kind of like. I like this. This is a potpourri time of year. This week on my schedule, I do a schedule every week for our TV side, right? And it's like, a lot of times you get a day, like you get Wednesday. It'll be a Wednesday sports planner, right? And it'll be like this. Bold the top and Wednesday, who's working. Then you get like our show 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. just so I don't forget. Not that anybody else cares in the department, but just so I don't forget. And then you might have like, we have a meeting today. We're going to go to it 2, something like that.
Where or just you?
No, not you.
Okay.
I mean, this is TV.
Whew, okay.
You're not on this email.
All right, cool.
If you didn't get the email, you don't have to go to the meeting.
Nice. Well, I probably didn't get it anyways. I have too many emails as it is.
And so then, like, tonight, I'll put what is going on, like, if there's high school soccer games or basketball games or, like last night, JU and UNF baseball and all that stuff. Usually they're like this big. This week, they're like this long. And I don't even think I'm listing everything.
Yeah.
And we're in that time of year, especially high school-wise. We are, like, we can't get to it all. High school baseball and softball starts up. You're probably not going to cover that too much in the early going. Well, I am going to cover it, but we're not going to cover it.
What a flex. I'm going to handle the work. I'm going to put the team on my back.
That's not handling the work. I'm not going to do anything else except go watch my kids play.
Okay.
That's really what kind of flex that was. But like last night, the Gators are in town. Top 5 team in the country. 2,500 people at UNF. Florida State's in town at JU. I don't know why we got to schedule these things all at the same time, people. Can we get together? Today, the Gators softball team won the best in the country at UNF for a doubleheader. So you got those kind of things. We had basketball happening, regional semifinals. It's a big deal. It's like you're close to state final, state championship type of stuff. We couldn't even get the basketball yesterday. We got to get it Friday, hopefully now. 1 or 2 games. That's the same night as the River City Rumble. Tonight we've got soccer going on. Which is huge. I mean, the girls' soccer in this area is so good. Like, we have some really good girls' soccer, and we got Bartram Trail and Creekside tonight. They've won the last 4 state championships, Austen Lane. I know that will get you fired up about a little girls' high school soccer.
Call it a dynasty.
St. John's Country Day. They lost yesterday in the Final Four.
Okay.
First time they haven't played for a state championship. I keep saying this, and I hope I'm right, since 2011. They had won, like, I think 10 state championships in a row.
Do you fire the coach right now then, or what? Like, what are we talking about here? I mean, expectations were not reached.
I really tried to couch this with, like, in high school, the goal, there's 2 sets of goals. It's a little like college basketball. In college basketball, don't you get the feeling that if you make the Final Four, it's already like an uber successful season?
In college basketball, for sure.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's kind of the goal people talk about.
It's kind of
reaching
like
the Final Four.
In college baseball, it's the same thing. Like, you make it to the Final 8. It's like going to Omaha. And then then there's like this next level. So there's almost a level of satisfaction about making it to Omaha or making the Final Four in college basketball. And then you're like, okay, well, let's see if we can seize the opportunity and win it all. But it's already a success, no doubt. Well, for most teams in high school, it's the same way. If you make the Final Four in the state of Florida, in almost any sport, hat tip to you. These poor girls, they were in the state championship game for like 13 years in a row or 12 years in a row. It's almost like disappointing not to get to the state title game. I had to remind everybody, hey, Final Four is still pretty good.
No, for sure.
But that's a long way of saying we got a lot going on right now, so it's a fun time of year. Right? Like in your world, you don't live in that world. The world I just shared with you. Like
No.
your world, you're living in a football world. Like, hey, football's done. NBA All-Star Weekend, right? Now we kind of sit and wait for the league year to start. Those kind of things.
Are you talking about my world that I'm living in right now?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
I
in a
mean,
sports world, like a sports appetite
in my
world.
sports world, yeah. So football is done. Obviously, a little bummed about that. Watching NBA, watching college basketball, obviously watching hockey. Man, got to watch my wing. So a whole lot of ESPN Plus going on there, and then MMA as well.
Yeah. So everybody's got their different appetite. But in the local sports scene, like we kind of feel like after the Super Bowl too, you take a little bit of a breath, maybe, right? The offseason, the Jags wait till the free agency starts, wait till everything starts, and it's not really the case. It's actually very busy. But let's talk football anyway, because on the horizon, we continue to talk about all the moves the Jags have to make. And something hit me yesterday during our conversation.
Okay.
I wrote this down. I wrote it down on my sheet of paper.
Oh wow, very important.
I have a lot of things on a sheet of paper.
Very official.
I'm not sure I should show everybody what's on my sheet of paper, so let me make sure I. But so I'll do
Hamby's
that.
getting traded.
So, I don't even know what I had on the sheet of paper. But I'm like, maybe I shouldn't show everybody. But so I wrote this down. I'm like, don't forget this topic that came to my mind yesterday. And I started to write a J instead of a T, so that was bad penmanship. But it says Trevor and Travon.
Okay.
And so I was thinking of this. Now that Travon has had a 10-sack season, and there's obviously a lot of hope, and I know there are some detractors in Trevor Lawrence and his skill set, and he's the quarterback of this franchise. How good of a job did the Jags do with the number 1 overall pick when they had it for 2 seasons in a row?
Okay. So here's where I go with that line of questioning. You got to go back to what they needed at the time, right? Like they needed a quarterback.
Absolutely.
So what did they do? I mean, well, they got the best quarterback of the draft. Now, is Trevor Lawrence the best player of that draft? Well, no. I think Jamar Chase right now would make an argument for that. So if you want to say how did the Jaguars did, I think they did an A in terms of they got who they had to get because they needed a quarterback. That's the most important position. But did they get the best player right now in the NFL from that draft class? No, they did not. Now, time will tell. Maybe Trevor leads to a Super Bowl. Then that opinion can change. But until right now, Jamar Chase is the best player, I think, of that draft class.
Okay. I can go there with you, but I'll rebuttal with this. And I know you kind of hedged it because the Jags needed a quarterback, and you're absolutely right. You're going to pick number 1 overall, and you need a quarterback. That's where you're going, right? That's where the teams this year are going to go there too, even though they might not get the best player in the draft. We know the quarterback gets shoved up.
Yeah.
But what I like, at least right now, we can say they got the best quarterback.
Without a doubt.
Right?
Yeah, hands down, not even close.
It doesn't appear to be. I still think Justin Fields will have a good career in the NFL. I'm not giving up on him, but it seems like it's just Justin Fields and Trevor. And Trevor has had the best moments. He's obviously won a playoff game, won a division, got to the playoffs. And he also has had some not-so-great moments. But we talk about Trevor Lawrence all the time. And again, I think everybody in Jacksonville believes this is the quarterback going forward. So I would put checkbox on the number 1 overall pick. So what about Travon now? Because this came with a lot of scrutiny last year, especially when you looked at Hutchinson, what he did in his rookie year versus what Travon did in his rookie year. But what about now after 2 full years?
I mean, once again, I come down to the theory of you need an edge rusher, right? So out of the edge rushers between Aiden Hutchinson and then let's throw Kayvon Thibodeau, is Trayvon Walker the best one? I think right now he's second, but I think the future can hold that he will be the best one. But once again, if we're talking about the number 1 overall position, the top draft pick, you think it'd be the best player. If you're taking the best player overall, well, that's Sauce Gardner because he's the best cornerback in the NFL.
Yeah.
So if you have a chance to get the best player at any position, an important position at the cornerback, then yeah, that would have been the A+ selection. Now, I'm giving Travon Walker an A, but I'm saying, was it the best possible pick? Well, probably not.
That's interesting. I like this gets. I don't know if it gets muddy. I think it's a good debate. Nobody was going to take corner at number 1. Has corner ever been taken number 1? Was Charles Woodson taken number 1? I gotta believe. Like, where was Dion taken or somebody like that?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if corner's ever been taken number 1.
I'm looking it up right now.
Maybe it has. But top 5, it certainly gets taken. Obviously, Jags took Jalen Ramsey top 5. Aduka was taken by the Lions. I think I'm sorry, Aduka. Okuda. Thanks for the heads up. Okuda was taken.
Denzel Ward was taken.
Wait a minute. Who's Aduka? Who am I thinking of? Ime Aduka or someone like? Is there a basketball player Aduka?
Did he play for Kansas?
It might have.
I don't know. That's a stretch.
Yeah, that's a stretch. Oh, you're telling me that's a stretch now. You might be right. Hey, getting used to these early mornings things here.
It's 10 o'clock, man.
Hey, early enough.
It's 10 o'clock. Relax.
I got to have an excuse somewhere in the back
Denzel
pocket.
Ward taken 4th overall. Patrick Peterson taken 5th overall. Jalen Ramsey taken 5th overall. Terrence Newman out of Kansas State taken 5th overall. Quentin Jammer taken 5th overall. Charles Woodson taken 4th overall.
Really? So that is the high. So nobody's
Sean Springs taken 3rd overall.
And Sauce was what? Number 4 as well?
Sauce was number 4.
Okay.
Yes.
So nobody's taking corner number 1. Obviously, you need pass rusher. That's where you're going to go. It's a staple. We get why it is. I understand your point. Are you taking the best player in the draft? You have the chance to take the best player in the draft. And if you could do that every year, you have a hell of a roster.
I mean, one would say that if you take the top pick overall, you want the best player of the draft. That's the whole point of it.
That's an interesting thing, right? Because you also have needs, and there are position values. And that's why everybody, we always say, does shove quarterback to number 1. So, in hindsight, though, what Travon just did, and I know there's a lot of like bulky detractors and everything else. And we have this conversation all the time. Mm-hmm. But I think about this like in the shot conversations or whatever conversations or the bulky defense conversations. Like, what am I saying? What am I going to the table with when I meet with the owner after and being like, well, look what we have done. Look what we are doing. Well, you had a chance to change the organization with 2 number 1 overall picks.
Okay.
Right? Mm-hmm. You really did. Like, you have to. If you're having the number 1 pick back-to-back years, you have got to do something. This is an organization that's had a lot of trouble in the first round, in the top 10. And they had 2 number 1 overall selections. And right now I'm saying, you got your franchise quarterback right now for the next 10, 12 years, we think at least. Mm-hmm. You never know. I say 10 or 12 now because everybody bounces to another team at some point, it feels like, in this day and age. And I got Travon Walker, who is ascending. And after year 1, this would have been a tough conversation, but it's a much easier conversation after year 2, seeing what he's doing.
Yeah, but you're making it sound like bulky, like Venmo'd you the money already because like we're giving him so many props. Why are we giving a guy who had 2 number 1 picks the props? They weren't hard decisions to make. Like the Trevor Lawrence here, yeah, no kidding. Unless you're a Chris Sims, you were taking Trevor Lawrence number 1. Now, how Chris Sims still has a job for saying Zach Wilson was better than Trevor Lawrence is beyond me. But hey, Chris Sims, go get your money. And then, when we talk about Aiden Hutchinson and Travon Walker, like those are the 2 guys.
Yeah.
There's going to be nobody else. Like, Sauce Gardner wasn't on that list. Thibodeau, who I liked a lot, wasn't on that list. It was either going to be Hutchinson or Walker. Now, if the Jaguars draft Hutchinson, there's some to like about him too as well, I think. I think he would have had success here. So, like, you couldn't lose. So, like, if I'm Shad Khan, I'm looking at, okay, look, I see what Trent Baalke did at number 1 overall for 2 years. Well, yeah, no kidding. It was obvious.
Yeah, but the Jags, I guess this is my point. We're going to hammer front office and coaches and everybody else for losing down the stretch, even though they had a bunch of guys injured. Then you got to give them credit even on the layups. You know what I mean? I mean, it's part of their resume. Like, you can't just pick and choose where you want it to, work for your story or not. The bottom line in this organization is the Jags had good players available in the top 10 in a bunch of drafts. Maybe not the number 1 overall pick, and you could argue they couldn't screw that up, and they did over the years. I mean, seriously, look at everybody around them. Now, 2013 was different, but look at other drafts where it's like, okay, everybody was good except for the guy the Jags took.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you can screw it up. Now, should you throw a parade for the guy for not screwing up? I get it. I get the Trevor one. Our dogs would have picked Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
Right?
And the same thing with Trayvon Walker. It's either Trayvon or Aiden.
Well, I think Thibodeau does come into play there. I think there were 3 players. They were all picked in the top 5, Austin. I mean, if a guy's picked in the top 5 and it's a position, you can go either way with that.
But with Thibodeau, though, it was they want to play football. Like, there was a lot of mental stuff.
But they knew it. I mean,
okay.
If you're picked, it's not like he slid to the second round, you know?
No, for
sure.
sure.
We're not talking about Miles Jack, who slipped all the way to the second round because of potential, knee concerns.
But also with Thibodeau, I mean, I think you'd be pretty happy as well. Like, I'm not sure how New York feels about him. He's very streaky. Like, I mean, I watched a couple games with Thibodeau, and, he'll have, a 4-sack game and kind of disappear the next, but he still had over 10 sacks this past season. So, you can't knock that either.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. So, do you like him? I mean, is he an on and off guy? I guess against the run, he's not as stout from what I understand. I haven't watched a lot. Honestly, haven't watched a lot of them. So much so that last year, all of a sudden, you looked up and he's got 10 and a half, 11 sacks. It's like, wait a minute. Why isn't anybody talking about this guy in the same breath they're talking about a Hutchinson or somebody else?
Listen, I have to give Casey some props here.
He loved
producer. Well, no, because we both loved him. We both wanted the Jaguars to take him. But we both agreed that how this kind of shook out in terms of edge rusher is exactly what we called. We both said that Hutchinson would come out right away and be the guy because he's the most polished. He's the most finished as an edge rusher. We both said that Trayvon Walker would take some time to acclimate, right, a la Rashawn Gary, where, you played a couple positions in college, didn't necessarily have the big quarterback sack numbers, so it could take him some time to acclimate. But when he does, he should be a beast. Well, looks to be a beast. And then Kayvon Thibodeau is the boomer bust guy, where he could essentially have the most quarterback sacks out of Aiden and Trayvon, but also you're taking the biggest risk by getting him because he is primarily an edge rusher, not so much, versed in the run game per se. And it's kind of shaking out like that.
Yeah, it's kind of, the evaluations were pretty good.
Yeah.
Just go back to our show.
Yeah, there you go.
The old show, we'll have to find that one. So I've got this for you. And again, I think this is an important thing that we don't talk about enough. The Jags haven't screwed this up. Last year, you could have made the case, okay, they screwed it up. You should have picked Hutchinson, whatever. We had to be patient on Trayvon Walker, and look where he's going. It does look like Trayvon is going in a certain direction for sure. All you got to do is look at the back end of last year. And he's a freaky guy, and his teammates say great things about him to stop the run stuff, the game wrecker ability. I think it potentially is there. We've already seen that from a guy like Aiden Hutchinson. But it's important to note that the Jags had a chance to change their franchise, and it looks like they got 2 staples on both sides of the ball with those number 1 overall pick. Even if you want to argue how good, should they have done this, should they have done that, they didn't lose at the number 1 spot these 2 years, in my opinion. And I would think most people would say that. If you could take Aiden Hutchinson or Trayvon Walker right now for the rest of their career, as much as you know about football, what are you doing?
For the rest of their career, what I know now, I would lean Trayvon Walker.
Why?
Because I think, number one, in terms of size and stature, I think he can be better in the run game. And also, I think he's shown the capabilities to be a very versatile and dominant edge rusher. Not to say Hutchinson isn't, but I think in terms of, once again, I'm going more boomer bust here.
Yeah.
I think Hutchinson, you know what you're going to get with him. I think he's going to give you the safer floor. But if I'm trying to risk it for the biscuit and get a guy who can get me, 17, 18 sacks and maybe a possible in a season, I can see Trayvon Walker doing that more than Hutchinson.
Interesting you brought that up because I was thinking the same way, and I don't know this. But it looks like we are getting an ascending player that we don't know the ceiling of Trayvon Walker right now. I think that's fair to say. Again, you cannot discount what he did the second half of the year. I think it was 7 out of 8 games or 8 out of 9 games where he registered a half a sack. I mean, we really saw a step. In the midst of the collapse, while everybody's complaining, and rightfully so, what we lost sight of is this growth out of the number 1 overall pick in year number 2. So I agree with you on the ceiling. Like, where does that stop? You do kind of have the feel like Hutchinson is going to give you 10, 11, 12 sacks, 9 at a floor, 8 at a floor, almost like a Jan in that sense. I don't know if he's getting to 16, 17, 18 sack territory. He might. Trey Hendrickson has, right?
Yeah.
So he might.
Yeah, he very well could be.
But I do like the unknown in Trayvon.
Yeah.
And he can play multiple positions. and he's way more athletic, which gives you options, it looks like, or at least he's freaky athletic.
I mean, yeah, but don't discount Hutchinson either, man. He has some interceptions drop back into coverage now and stuff. So he's, I wouldn't say he's unathletic.
Probably not way more. That's probably an overstatement. Mm-hmm. But I like that you said that. I think maybe the fans like that you said that, because here's what I think. If I asked that question, which I just did, I think most people would say Hutchinson. Because what Hutchinson has done, and what we really haven't seen Travon do yet, is wreck some games. He looks like a beast in some games. Single-handedly. Travon, I don't think we've really seen that moment where he just dominated the football game with 3.5 sacks or something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's a discussion that continues. We obviously will monitor. These guys will be measured against each other, much like the quarterbacks of the 21 class were and will be continued to get measured against each other. And I think the Jags are sitting in a good spot with both their guys. I'll tell you that I say this all the time. You can be down on Trevor. But a lot of times when the Jags play another team, I'm cool with Trevor and Doug. I'll take Doug and Trevor in this situation. Your guy might be better statistically, or your guy might be better, whatever. I'll take him. I think the Jags right now will be like, I'll take our guy. And, hey, hats off to Aiden Hutchinson. He's doing a great job. But we'll take our guy. We're okay with it.
Sure.
And that's a good place to be, to go to battle with a guy that you believe in that can be very good. And that's what you hope for in that number one position. Let's take a timeout. We come back. We talk more football, of course. Patrick Mahomes, after the Super Bowl, said some interesting things. A look at the crowd at UNF last night for the baseball game on a chilly night. Obviously, a lot of Florida Gator fans are top 5 in the country. They ended up winning 10-0. But it was 2,500, a sold-out crowd, sitting on the pickup trucks out in the outfield as well. Really a good night for college baseball in Jacksonville on Tuesday. In Northeast Florida, we love hanging out on the back patio, maybe grilling out lunch or dinner with the family, enjoying the good weather, or maybe enjoying the big game on the TV. Or maybe your favorite team in town, the Action Sports Jacks team. This is great, except for when it's really hot or the bugs start coming out. But what if you didn't have to worry about that? Titan Outdoor Solutions will make your outdoor area a comfortable spot any time of the day, any time of the year. This makes too much sense. Titan Outdoor Solutions can give your home an upgrade. Customized pergolas, awnings, controlled shade, even retractable screens. The solution to beating the heat and the bugs and getting more use out of your home is Titan Outdoor Solutions. And this can even help prevent storm damage at your home. Living in Florida and living in your home is already good. Now make it great. Quality products, custom work, locally owned and operated. Visit TitanShuttersAndScreens.com or call 904-484-7580.
Investigative journalism. It's the difference between the Action News Jack style of news and everyone else's.
I'm Ben Becker. This scam is targeting residents on the South Side.
We investigate so you're crystal clear how a story impacts you.
I'm Emily Turner. Take a look at the fine print because you're still getting billed.
Because our reporters don't just tell you what happened. We break down how it affects you and your neighborhood, which is why people are putting their trust in us. Action News Jacks at 5 and 6. It's local coverage you can count on.
Stop by the new car sales event happening right now at Greenway Kia at the Avenues. $500 in a job gets you in a Kia. And Michael Montiero and the staff here at Greenway Kia are here to make it happen. Experience great customer service and become a part of their family. And while you're here, check out the Kia Forte GT line, full of comfort, innovation, and has driver assist technology. And how about the affordable new Kia EV9, the fast-charging, all-new electrical SUV with high-performance capability, 3-row seats with 304 miles of maximum driving range. Over 1,000 new Kia models, some starting at $199 a month. And as always, get the 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. Come shop at Greenway Kia at the Avenues, located on Phillips Highway. You can shop online at greenwaykiaattheavenues.com. And remember, $500 and a job gets you in a Kia at Greenway Kia at the Avenues.
Before Action News Jacks at 5 breaks today's top stories, know this. We're asking the tough questions for you.
Were you targeting the Tebows?
Our team of reporters are relentless.
Do you have anything to say to your former employees?
Working to find answers.
If we we wait in the parking lot, you'll talk to us on camera.
Never stopping.
Have you paid back any money?
So you know what's really going on.
Your own counsel said it was an investigation.
I'm just asking questions. I mean, is it a conflict in your mind?
Action News Jacks at 5. It's local coverage you can count on.
We had a blast swooping with the Ospreys on Saturday night for their scholarship fundraiser, the Blue and Gray Bash. And that night is all about benefiting the student athlete. At UNF, those athletes are in full swing right now. The stretch run of the basketball season, which includes the River City Rumble on Friday night in men's basketball. Baseball and softball season are now underway. Beach volleyball is the next to get rolling, and the golf team is coming off a big stretch, and a successful one at that. Nick Gabrowczyk continues to shine, and in a field that included the Florida Gators, the Ospreys golfer won medalist honors. Next up, the Haight Invitational in March at Sawgrass Country Club for the golf team. There's a lot going on at UNF, a good time to see the finish of the winter season and the start of the spring season. Check out the upgrades in facilities and check out the talent on the rosters. UNFOspreys.com for all things University of North Florida. You can get scores, schedules, news, tickets. UNFOspreys.com. And don't forget to swoop with the Ospreys.
Streaming right now on Action News Jacks.
Let's get your morning started.
It's local.
Take a look at this surprising video.
It's breaking. It's weather 24/7.
I gotta keep you guys safe.
It's original.
More trucks, more food.
It's entertaining. Now it's new and free.
'Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it.
Everywhere, anytime. Stream Action News Jacks wherever you watch.
Perfect Rack Billiards has a deal for you. 50-cent Wing Fridays during lunch. Get out of work early, get a head start on the weekend, or just take a lunch break. 11:30 until 3 p.m. on Fridays. Every Friday, Perfect Rack Billiards with 50-cent wings for lunch on Fridays. A perfect place to stop in Murray Hill, play some pool, play some darts, maybe some shuffleboard. Now, that's a heck of a lunch break. And get those 50-cent wings on Friday just to make it better. 11:30 to 3 p.m. on Fridays at Perfect Rack Billiards. Well, there's a look at the high school sports spring media day, and that is in time-lapse fashion. 2 hours and 47 minutes of content. That's what it turned out to be. Action Sports Jacks there at the YMCA yesterday with high school 912 and all the kids playing spring sports, different sports, boys and girls, as you can see. Administrators, coaches, and Stuart Weber, Marcel Robinson, Olivia Tasley did a fantastic job. Welcome back, everybody, to the Brent and Austen Show. Brent Martineau along with Austen Lane and Jason Hamby. You all right over there?
Yeah, I was seeing what those emojis were.
What we got?
I don't know. I can't see. You got to call me out, man. I was just looking to see what they were.
I thought you identified them. You need my glasses?
Well, I mean, Santa Claus, I think a football.
I saw that Santa Claus thing, yeah.
Yeah.
That was from Tommy. Tommy, can you interpret that, please? Only if it's nice. Steve says he had 59 pressures this year, too, 36 his first year. I think he's talking about Travon. 3.5 sacks to 10 sacks is a good jump on both. So
without a
pressures
doubt.
And nobody will talk about what is done in the run game. And I'll always bring this up. And this is not a defense. This is just a football knowledge that we don't want to watch. It's kind of, to me, the run defense is a lot like offensive line play. You notice it if you miss a tackle or maybe if there's your fault that you missed a gap, but you never notice when you're doing your job well. That creates good plays. And that's how we view offensive linemen. And I think that's how we view run defense. Even on the interior, those guys don't get a lot of love most of the time. But we had DeJuan Smoot on Jags Report Live on our Monday night show this fall. When we had him on, we asked him about the maturation of a guy like Travon, how he's doing. He's like, he kind of just looks at us in like this wry smile kind of way. He's like, he wrecks every play. Mm-hmm. And see, our eyes saying he wrecks every play is a sack or a tackle for a 4-yard loss. You guys inside the film room wrecking every play is caving something down so the other guy can do his job and make the play, right?
Yeah, without a doubt. And this is why sometimes I'm anti-PFF, because those numbers don't dictate that sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, why don't people get more love for stopping the run? I mean, I think it's simple. It's a quarterback first, it's a pass first type of league. So unless you're playing like, the Tennessee Titans, the Baltimore Ravens, or the 49ers, I think some of those stats get brought by the wayside a little bit, which I think they're still important stats, because the way to get a team in best situations is to stop the run. So it's definitely crucial, but there's just such a premium on pressures and quarterback sacks.
How does the fan base in Jacksonville, I really want your thoughts, because the last time we were doing a show together, it wasn't exactly that time, but we went through the time where the Jan and Jalen, Tom Coughlin, Doug Marrone, Dave Caldwell, like that stuff. There was a lot of noise there, right? And it eventually led to Tom Coughlin getting fired as the executive vice president. The Jags have not gone the EVP route yet, although there was conversation they would. I still think that they should have some person in a role between the GM and Shad Khan in this organization. I have vouched for that to be a Tony Baselli type. But that's what Shad was trying to do with Tom Coughlin, bring back somebody who knows how to win, somebody who loves the organization. Like, I think he had a lot of good intent with what he did. And you know what the Jags did when he came back is you knew who they were. Like, there was an identity right away. 7 years after that, 7 years after he comes in the second stint with the Jags, he's going to go into the pride of the Jaguars in 2024. They haven't announced exactly what date. Today is the anniversary, February 21st, 1994, when the Jags hired Tom Coughlin, a full year before they even started playing football. He obviously started the organization. What do you think the temperature is on Tom now that time has passed between when he got fired? The Jags have kind of started a new era a couple of different times with Urban and now Doug Peterson. What's the temperature in Jacksonville about Tom Coughlin?
I think it's a temperature of respect. With Tom Coughlin, the last time that he was in Jacksonville as a coach, he got a bad rap because there was some miscommunications with him, and I forgot how it all went down. I remember we were at the Iceman game prepping for that, and he had a press conference, and I can't remember exactly how all the dialogue went down, but essentially people weren't on the same page, and it stemmed a lot from Tom Coughlin, and people wanted to blame him for Jalen Ramsey leaving, right? Arguably one of your best players in franchise history. So there was a lot of frustration and a lot of anger, I think, geared towards Tom Coughlin. Now, time heals all wounds. Coaches have come and gone and obviously not had a lot of success here. So I think, when the time does heal the wounds, you take a look and realize, okay, what did Tom Coughlin accomplish here? What was he able to add here? And what were his contributions? And his contributions are always going to outweigh, that 1 year where everything kind of fell apart, and I think people have forgave him for that year. And I think people are excited to welcome him in the hall, or what do you call it, the pride?
Yeah.
The pride, yeah.
YB400 says we cool, Tom is cool. And I think that's it. I'm just curious. I really don't listen. There's a lot of angst at that time. A lot of people were looking at Tom as the guy that kind of was responsible for this because of the persona of him. And there's many reports ever since that it wasn't Tom involved in the big Jalen Ramsey blow-up after the timeout, not called timeout, the meeting after the game. And so it was really less about Tom in that conversation, but it was perceived that Tom was the heavy during that. Now, there's other things. Listen, it's 30 years ago today. It's unbelievable what Tom Coughlin has meant really to this city, I think, and to this franchise. That is the overarching thing for me. To start a franchise, to have the early success. He has put his name and stamp on all three trips this franchise has to the AFC Championship game. The closest this team has ever gotten to a Super Bowl has been when Tom Coughlin has been involved in the organization. Head coach twice, executive vice president once. Instant impact, by the way, on both regimes when Tom Coughlin was involved. 96, right out of the gates, to 99, and that run. And then he comes in and boom, year one, 2017. Now, are there some criticisms of Tom Coughlin over the years? I think especially the second stint, there's certainly criticism of whether it's the OTA meeting and conversation, right, the presser, to kind of start ruffling the feathers of maybe the guys like Jalen Ramsey and Telvin Smith was mentioned in that conversation. Why did things go a little bit awry and get disconnected? Why was Doug Marrone pointing down the hall and I say, ask him? That's a weird scene. Is that a Doug Marrone problem? Is that a Tom Coughlin problem? Is that a Shad Khan problem? I don't know. But who was really running the show? Like, who's supposed to make these calls and who's owning up to it? And the one I put on Tom more than anything else is the fact that they signed off, meaning he signed off, I would assume in his role, on the extension to Blake Bortles. That was Dave Caldwell's guy. It should have been no surprise that Dave Caldwell, after seeing him do well in 17, wanted to extend Blake Bortles. First of all, it was a debate even to begin with. Well, the guy who drafted him certainly was going to be like, hey, I was right. Look, I know it took a little bit, but here we go. I really think in that situation, this organization needed Tom to say, no, that's not the right call. It's a tough call, but it's not the right call. I've seen what gets you there. I've got 2 of these things. And that was the one where he shouldn't have signed off on. Like, in hindsight, that's the decision that wasn't good. Much like in hindsight, if you ask former owner Wayne Weaver his biggest regret, he would say, really listening to the fan base and firing Tom Coughlin when he did. He shouldn't have fired him. It's his biggest regret. So, listen, everybody makes mistakes, but I think in our business, we hold people accountable and critical for their mistakes, criticize them for their mistakes, and I think those are just a couple of examples. But I do think time has passed enough where this is long overdue. Like the fact that he's going into the Pride, finally, it's like finally. The day he left, he probably should go to the Pride. And it's going to be a good moment in Jacksonville when he does that. But 30 years ago today, February 21st, 1994, named the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And there's no doubt Tom Coughlin has become one of the biggest names this city has ever seen or heard. On the field and obviously off the field with the Tom Coughlin J Fund.
Yeah, I mean, he's done a lot for this community. He's done a lot for this football team. He's done a lot in general for the city of Jacksonville. So, yeah, I think the Jags did a good job of letting enough time pass to heal said wound, and now people are ready to celebrate.
Amy, did you have something over there?
Yeah, I think the kind of bashing of Coughlin specifically came from like my generation because 17 was the first year that we were ever good. Like I'm born in 2000, so obviously I missed that.
What?
That
you were
first
born in what?
2000.
Just a baby.
So the first time we were ever good and made a playoff run was 17, and that's high school for me, and that's when all of my generation really took the Jags. It wasn't just their parents' team or whatever; it became like our team, and then it all collapses. And I think a lot of that blame, obviously, as you said, was put on Coughlin. And I think even you can make an argument that some of the bashing of him was even overblown because a lot of it came from my generation, and we were the first ones to really use like the social media stuff and all of that circulating on social media. A lot of that came from like my age kind of group because we saw him as the older, out of touch, specifically with Jalen. We were so drawn to Jalen and Telvin. And obviously, Tom, he's on a completely different wavelength, level, everything from guys like that. When there's disconnect, my generation sided with Jalen, and then because we had never seen Tom in 96, 99, all that. So all we knew was, it didn't end well.
Yeah, I think, by the way, Hamby, I think that's great perspective. I think you're right on the money there. I think your generation, this younger generation, which is loud,
oh, yeah.
By the way, which we love.
Yep.
We love this generation of Jags fan on social media, Jaguars Twitter, all that stuff. But that's a loud part of the fan base. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I don't think they meant this, but I don't really think they gave a damn about the 90s. Like, no, hey, Tom, we don't really care what you did in the 90s, right?
Yeah, it's what have you done for me lately?
Yeah, and so I get it. I think that's great perspective. I think you're right on. I think it felt like there's a disconnect. And by the way, the reality is there might be. I mean, Bill Belichick doesn't have a job. He's 72 years old. Tom, when he was in here, I think came back at 71 or 72 years old. It's a different world. I mean, we have talked about this so many times, and I don't think people understand. Because kind of just say it. You played in this league a decade ago. Mm-hmm. That's it. That was 10 years ago. This league is totally different 10 years later.
Correct.
And so when Tom was winning Super Bowls, compared to when he got out and even came back, we're looking at a different league, a different animal, a different brand, different salaries, different power structure, quite frankly. So that stuff where you're saying it at a luncheon and like, yeah, we want 100% participation, that doesn't fly anymore. Used to be able to do that. That didn't fly as well. And so what else was going on behind closed doors, all those other things, same type of deal. I mean, to a different degree, like Urban Meyer found out, like, hey, this ain't college football. You can't do some of the things, right?
Yeah.
So there's definitely that part. The one other thing I always said about Coughlin, this wasn't Coughlin's fault. This is what I said about Schad in terms of the hiring of Coughlin and Marrone specifically. And even by that time, Caldwell, who had been, since 2013, he was hung on for that next set of downs, if you will, as the GM and the middleman between Marrone and Coughlin. I asked this question a lot during our show back then when we were talking about this stuff. Would these guys have jobs anywhere else in the NFL in the capacity they are in? Tom Coughlin had flirted with a team or two. He was in the NFL front office, flirted with a team or two. I think Philadelphia was one of them that thought about bringing him in. Maybe it was Buffalo or something like that, but I think it was Philadelphia as an EVP. It passed on. It didn't do it. The Jags hired him in a position where I'm not sure he would have been in that position anywhere else in the league. Doug Marrone kind of got a life-saving head coaching opportunity with Tom because partly how many people were going to work with Tom pushing the buttons.
Yeah, but see, that's where it all went wrong for Doug Marrone, though, as well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the catch-22 of everything. Like, to me, it's so ironic that the Jaguars' best season was because you ran the hardest training camp you ever ran with Tom Coughlin.
Yeah.
The problem with that, and once again, this is just the way the NFL is now, and this is the way that players are, they have issues with that. They don't like all the contact in training camp. They want to feel healthy and things like that. And I'm not saying that's the right thing to do. I'm just saying that's the way it is. So
there was almost a mutiny in that locker room.
Yeah, it was almost a mutiny. And like, not to say,
I'm not gonna lie.
Listen, without peeling too much behind the curtain in the locker room when I played, but like there was conversations before, right, in training. I think every team goes through a conversation of like, man, we might be doing a little too much here, or like, I don't agree with this. Like, teams have those conversations.
When you went through a malarkey one, so.
Well, yeah,
but similar, right?
I remember more of the Del Rio when we were at night in training camp.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
players
I remember that when he shifted to the night.
Players had issues with that because we're getting done like 9:30, getting back at 10, and we're wired. We can't go to sleep.
Yeah.
So, like, there's issues with that. But when you talk about Coughlin and what he brought to the table, yeah, he got the best out of his players by running a really rigorous training camp, but it was all for nothing because the players rebelled against him. And then you have to find that sweet spot. And it says a lot of just how hard those things were because you almost went to the Super Bowl.
I know it.
You were literally one play away from going to the Super Bowl, and you had a problem with it. Like, if anything, you should have went to the next season saying, all right, guys, let's build on what we did last year. But no, I was like, we're not going through that again.
Yeah.
We're not going through that kind of practice
They had to peel back on it.
And they peeled back on it, and then whatever happened, happened. So,
well, then Marrone, what's very interesting is Marrone got caught. Again, this is Saxonville documentary down the road, but Marrone got caught in the middle because he was like, well, should I be listening to the players? I mean, the players are the one that I deal with all the time. Tom gave me the opportunity. Like, that's a tough spot to be in, but he chose the players.
Well, and that's what I was going to say is the fact that the chain of command got all screwed up, and this falls on ownership because you didn't really know what was the role of Tom Coughlin really? What was the role of Doug Marrone really? Like, I don't think they even knew, right? All of a sudden, Coughlin's calling the shots. Marrone's defending the players now. So everybody was so out of whack because, well, roles weren't really defined and the chain of command was all screwed up.
Yeah, I think you're right. I will say this, man. It's fun to look back on that time. Again, I really do want to someday do like a documentary on that season because I think it's just fascinating what it meant to the organization at the time, the personalities in the organization, how it came together. And I think we lose sight of stuff like that. There was legit Mercedes Lewis. Like, I remember talking to him at the end of the training camp. And there was about to be like, if this doesn't work, this is going to be a disaster of a season type deal. And getting a guy like Mercedes Lewis to talk about it in hindsight will be fascinating. But you could make the case, one of the most critical games that I've seen in Jacksonville, and I didn't know this going in, but in hindsight, that I've seen in Jacksonville, and it might not be one of the most critical games in your mind because you're going to bring up like a playoff game or something else. The season opener against Houston that year. Now they crushed them. They had 10 sacks in that game.
Yeah, Calais Campbell had like 6 of them.
Yeah, if that game does not go that way, 2017 never happens. To the point of what you said. Like, they needed the payoff instantaneously in that locker room of, okay, that's why we just did this. Now, ironically, they lost the next week to, like, Tennessee here at home, I think, 9-6. But then they go put it on Baltimore in London. And so you can buy right back into it, even if you hesitated a bit. So that first game against Houston, to put on the show they did, was so big. And I think as you look back at it, it just takes you down memory lane of a season that was just wild in hindsight because it was such a one-off type of deal with Tom Coughlin, the rest of that roster, and everybody else and everything else in Jacksonville. All right, let's take a break here. We come back. There was a wild game last night in college basketball that you probably only care about if you had a wager on it, but it's still worth noting. And we talked about college basketball yesterday on the show, and then they delivered for us last night in the context of how crazy March Madness is going to be.
The most consistent team goes down.
It's unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
There is Everbank Stadium, all quiet right now. Looking pretty good, though. And the biggest topic of the offseason is, what is that going to look like in the next 5 years? 6 years and down the road. That has to be determined. I like to say everybody has a story, and sometimes we're a part of other people's stories. That's the case here at Nimnicht Buick GMC. My family and the Nimnicht family. We've purchased 6 different vehicles from Nimnicht Buick GMC. Maybe you're in the market for a truck. Well, let me tell you about the GMC Sierra. I absolutely love mine. I've had a couple of these. This one's a 2020, but right now on 2024 GMC Sierras here at Nimnicht Buick GMC, there's special financing. A year ago, we purchased a GMC Terrain for the kids. Financing rates as low as 2.9% right now for eligible buyers on Terrains and Acadias too. Looking for used instead of new? Buy a used car with the Car Bravo program. Nimnicht Buick GMC certifies all makes and models. Let the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville take care of you and your family. Come on out and see the showroom, meet the fantastic people, or shop online at nimnichtbuickgmc.com. Nimnicht, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
There's never a dull day in Duval. At Action News Jax, we know Jacksonville is so much more than crime stories. That's why we're dedicated to covering every local neighborhood. Real stories told by real people, making a positive impact. Plus, with our fleet of drones, the First Alert Storm Tracker, and our passionate team of reporters,
doing a story about the bad gas that was found here.
You know, if it's happening now and in Jacksonville, it's on. Action News Jax, local coverage you can count on.
The friendliest golf course in town, the Golf Club at Southampton. Local golfers have no shortage of options when it comes to picking a course to play here in Northeast Florida year-round. Yet time and time again, I find myself here at the Golf Club at Southampton. Easy to get to off 210 in St. Johns County. It's family-owned and operated and renowned for being one of the area's most player-friendly. That's just one of the reasons we hold the Action Sports Jax Dream 18 charity golf tournament here each fall. The Mark McCumber design layout is great for all skill levels of golfers, from the guys who bomb it a mile on the range to golfers like me who are just happy to put it in the fairway, which Southampton has very accommodating fairways. And if you need new clubs, come down to the pro shop. They'll fit you up and get you a nice new set like they did for me. For more information on membership or to book a tee time and see for yourself, head over to golfsouthampton.com or call the clubhouse at 904-287-7529. The Golf Club at Southampton. It's the official home of the Action Sports Jax Dream 18. Make it your home for golf too.
Thank you for making Action News Jax the best in Jax and Folio's Best of Jax 2023. Best TV station, Best TV newscast, Best TV morning show. Chandler Morgan voted Best TV anchor. The Chief, Mike Burrish, voted Best meteorologist. And Brent Martineau voted Best TV sports anchor. And while you're on the go, Best news website and Best local blog, The Burrish Blog. Thank you for making Action News Jax local coverage you can count on.
It can be daunting to fix or replace your AC unit. We've done it a couple of times, but it's a better experience because of Bold City Heating and Air. We visited boldcityac.com. They did the rest. There are not a lot of Jacksonville-grown and family-owned air conditioning businesses anymore. Bold City Heating and Air is just that, and it feels like it. They will help you navigate the process with first-class service, and they have no payments, no interest for 12 months right now on new systems. $50 off any repairs. Make sure you're safe and comfortable at home, and let Bold City Heating and Air help. boldcityac.com.
I'm Action News Jack's First Alert meteorologist Garrett Beaton. Well, the sun is up and it's going to be a beautiful day.
Sometimes you just need a day to yourself. And Garrett's First Alert forecast makes sure you're ready to go out and enjoy. Garrett and the Action News Jax This Morning team helping you start your morning right.
Discover how good your water can be with a new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We know that at our home. You can find out as well. Right now, you can save $1,000 or more when you bundle the Connecticut Premier Softener with a Connecticut K5 drinking water system. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? Well, CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions to improve it. The higher your water score, the better your water. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242, cgcwater.com. Financing options are available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579. Well, there's a look at John Sessions Stadium last night. It's a chilly night for baseball, but another good crowd over there is Florida State, who has a ton of local guys, including that guy right there, Daniel Cantu out of Creekside High School. He knocked in a couple of runs early. Good game last night. Went 4-4 into the ninth, and then that was the game-winning RBI for Florida State. They ended up adding a couple more runs. They win 7-4, so good contest between JU and Florida State. FSU trying to take a big step this year under Link Jarrett, and they are loaded with local players. Obviously, Jacksonville University is as well. Brent Martineau along with Austen Lane and Jason Hamby. The Brent and Austen Show on a Wednesday. Talk a lot of football, obviously. There's a bunch of stuff going on around the country, including college basketball. And just like we were talking yesterday, UConn gets upset by Creighton. They got hammered, really, by Creighton.
Yeah, it was complete domination. First of all, I'm going to apologize to the Creighton fan base. I was not familiar with your game. That student section was insane last night. And I don't even know where Creighton is. Is it
that
Omaha?
is in Nebraska.
Omaha?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I had no idea. I've never watched like a Creighton home game before. I've seen them in the tournament all the time, but
that's where you usually see them. You're right.
Yeah. Never watched a Creighton home game, but those fans came to support, and those fans came to, do their thing, even to the point where I think Dan Hurley wanted to fight a couple of them after the game.
Did you see that?
Yeah. So
Hurley,
he's going to knock somebody out.
Yeah, we know Hurley. Well, look, I don't know him, but he coached University of Rhode Island. And then he goes just down the road to Connecticut, and they win. Obviously, it's the Hurley family, Danny Hurley and everybody else, his dad, Bobby Hurley, I should say, and then his dad, a longtime coach in New Jersey. And it was kind of a cool story last year to see UConn win it. And he had always been like the forgotten brother, and ends up winning it. And now they've got the best team in the country again. I mean, UConn's pretty wild in men's basketball to me. They go through these runs over the years with Jim Calhoun and others where they are just dominant. And I think last year was the 5th national championship, or maybe it was the 4th one. But just they pop up, and they're really good.
Yeah.
And here they are again. But they're also like, they ain't afraid to get after it. Like, they're intense. And I saw that video of Hurley, and he was almost like looking for it last night walking off that court, which is not supposed to be doing that as a coach, especially the coach of the number 1 team in the country.
Yeah, but what the fan said was kind of, like, if a fan said that to me, I'd be doing the same stuff. They're talking about his wife, in case you didn't know.
Is that what he ended up bringing it up?
Yeah.
I saw the video of him walking out.
Yeah. So, I mean, saying
you kind of get it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
but
man.
He's going to lose in that.
Sure, he's going to lose in that. People are going to be saying, I can't believe he's saying stuff to the students. Like, he didn't go up there. He didn't throw a punch or anything. Like,
at least he didn't take it to
let
that
the dude speak his piece. Let the dude defend his wife if he has to. You know, like, that doesn't bother me whatsoever. But it does, and we talked about this yesterday a little bit, it is surprising just how much of an atmosphere can make a difference in college basketball. You know, I mean, you put, 14, 15,000 people in a gym, have them all go wild and crazy in the student section, and that can affect the game. You know, I mean, I think Creighton, they were plus at the end of the line. It was like 2.5.
Is that what they were?
Which is wild. You know, against the number one team, the most consistent team in the country. And Creighton comes out and does their thing because of that home court advantage. So it really makes you appreciate those college environments.
Well, so much so that, I mean, home court, this punctuates two things we were talking about already this week. March is going to be wild. It's just going to be a wild tournament. It's so good. We talk about all the bad things in sports, in college sports. There's a lot to complain about. And I find myself complaining about them sometimes too, and maybe not as loud as others. Everybody's got their thing. But the one thing that I believe continues to just get better and better is this bracket, man. Yeah. And I'm not talking just because we have betting now all over the place. Like, a lot of things are better because of the betting, and you can at least find some entertainment value in it. Not this. This is entertainment value. This, to me, is wide open. Now, we get upsets all the time. There's a lot of parity around college basketball. You get the FAUs of the world. We've seen the George Masons of the world. But at the end of the day, you get some of those runs once in a while, but you usually end up with the chalky guys at the top. I don't know. I feel like this is going to be one of these crazy years where we're going to get just a bunch of low seeds. Maybe it just doesn't play out that way. But the other dominant conversation that we've been having when it comes to college basketball, anytime we talk about it, is the home team is king. I mean, it's tough to win on the road in college basketball, maybe more than any other sport that we see now in the last couple of years. If you do the metric, I wonder what the metrics look like, but I would imagine there are more home upsets in college basketball than any other sport going right now. That's just my guess, without looking up the numbers. But the cool thing about March, or maybe the bad thing about March, there's no home team.
Correct.
It's all on neutral site.
Usually, I mean, sometimes it's regional where it can cater to, a team.
Yeah, that's a good point. Usually the number one seed who is already going to probably dominate. Yeah. But that's true.
But, obviously a great showing from Creighton, and you couldn't just let them have their flowers. The olds had to come out. The olds had something to say about it. We really need to get like an olds button, Hamby. Let's do a little collaborative effort here by the end of the week and get a little olds button. Maybe it's Brent talking. We'll see. But when we talk about the olds are fed up with the people storming the court. Now, I will say this. They beat the number one team in the country.
For the first time ever. Which also is kind of wild.
Go celebrate, It did feel a little weird because it was such a dominant effort by Creighton. It's like a buzzer beater. I don't care if you're ranked if you're the number 20 team in the nation. If it's a buzzer beater and you win, go wild. So it felt a little weird because it was such a dominant showing by Creighton. But then it got on the topic of, should you storm the court? Could somebody get hurt? Caitlin Clark got knocked down a couple weeks ago against Nebraska, or whatever.
Ohio State, I think it was.
Ohio State, sorry, when they stormed the court. So do you think, and this is football too, we see this everywhere in college, but do you think fans should be able to storm the court or storm the field?
Yeah, I'm okay with it. I do get the angst about it. I really do. Like, the Caitlin Clark thing was why. Like, that could have been a lot worse. And that's one of the reasons why you get concerned about it. If I'm an AD, if I'm a league office, like, I am just cringing every time I see it. Because the bottom line is, when from point A to point B, from the end of the game, the clock hits 0 until the storming, which obviously creates the atmosphere that you want, the storming and the excitement and everything else. You can't get the other team off the court quick enough. Like, you just can't. So you already have this massive amount of people running past security. You can't police it. It's impossible unless you're going to go put horses around the court like they do at like the playoffs in Major League Baseball. So you're not going to do that. You can already get people trampled and other things. But on the outside of your own folks that are just happy to be there and having fun and trying to enjoy it, there's another team that might have just lost. That's 18, 19, 20 years old a lot of times. Might not handle losses all the time very well. Might also get sucker punched or grabbed or said something to and not respond in the right way. I mean, there is a lot that can elevate this thing, and I understand like why people are against it or at least cringe at it. But I'll also say this. It's part of it. I love it. Like the best moment UNF has ever had is when they won the ASUN go to the NCAA tournament and the court storming. Like that's what people remember. It was a really good game, but people remember the court storming. That's part of the memory of it. I just think you got to keep your fingers crossed. I don't know of a better way to police it. I thought about this. I legit thought about this after the Caitlin Clark one. Could you?
But was that bad? Was Caitlin Clark that bad?
It wasn't that bad, but it just exemplifies what could happen, right?
No,
like
I know.
It pronounces that more.
Like, if Iowa would have stormed the court and she would have got knocked over by accident, she would have jumped right up and celebrated too. Like, it wasn't like I get, oh, Caitlin, like, she's an athlete. She's going to be okay. Like, she got knocked down, and yeah, and I get it was unfortunate, but it wasn't like
it wasn't
with malicious intent.
No,
I've seen
no doubt.
Manu, like, I saw Manu back in the day for the Spurs flop more than her.
Yeah, listen,
like,
I get what you're saying, but the bottom line is when you're not expecting to get blindsided or hit, it throws you for a loop anyway. The other thing is this. You're right. It wasn't malicious. What about the time that it becomes malicious?
Well, then you have a precedent on your hands. But has there ever been in the history of storming a field or a court where a college drunk fan went after a player and punched him? I can't remember one.
I don't know, but I get why people would think that it could happen. Listen, I'm not for the banning of it.
It would probably be the other way around, where the drunk fan says something directly to that player after watching him and ridiculing him or whatever the whole game, and that player's just absolutely pissed that they just lost, and that's the nail in the coffin, and they swing.
My only solution here, guys, was, and I don't think it's a sensible one, to be honest with you, in hindsight, but I'm just going to tell you what I thought about when I saw the Caitlin Clark one. It's like, is there any way they can just get the team off the court before they storm? Like, is there any way you can do that? Because to me, that's my biggest concern, is that part of it, especially in an intense game with a lot on the line. Not all these games are like that. But I think it's just something you have to do as a coach, like even if you're the losing team or the visiting team, that you have to be prepared for. You have to be like, hey, let's get off the court, but just so you know, like, stay out of – like, you almost have to coach it. I think you have to almost coach it up a little bit to avoid any kind of circumstances. We saw a game the other night. We didn't show it, but there was a game the other night where there was a brawl after the handshake line. That's another one, by the way, people. You talk about the olds. The olds are like, why are we doing the handshake line? If this is the stuff that's going to break out.
Yeah.
Which I'm actually a little surprised stuff like that doesn't break out more in the handshake line. Like, you have that. This was from, like, Incarnate Word and whatever team they were playing.
UIW?
Yeah, two smaller Division I schools.
Oh, Texas A&M Commerce.
Okay, yeah. They have a basketball team, Texas A&M Commerce,
moves to 3-10.
But so look, this is what you get on the.
Oh no, this is
lower
not
that audio
good.
a little bit if you don't mind.
This is really not
thanks,
good.
Andy.
We've got
the
punches.
This was a good one.
This is
or a bad
really
one.
bad.
Yeah,
depending on how you look at it.
That's a Pier 6 brawl right there. It's a little brouhaha.
But I think this is even harder to police because look at the state, look at the arena. It's empty. Like, how much security are you going to have at a game that has 56 people in it? So it's really hard to even break it up. Because the only person you have outside of the coaches to break this thing up is like two security guards and the AD.
Number 8 giving his best.
Here's the one funny part.
Oh my
Someone
goodness.
in the crowd was hurt and hit.
Not that part. I'm sorry.
Good call,
I'm so
Hamby.
sorry.
Oh, Hamby, that's
There it is.
Oh, it looks like a young girl.
Well, we got a manager that has blood on his face, and we still got guys that need to get to the locker room.
Everyone's
these
still
two are not calling
rallying
UFC fights
here.
anytime soon.
Alex Anderson.
No. We need
That's
to
the part
get
that Hamby's
this.
talking about.
We need to
that was,
get this
that was
settled.
interesting because she's like starting to name people.
Oh yeah, she's snitching.
And he's like,
No.
You can tell he's like, no. Don't start naming people.
No.
For the league office to see. It was actually like, you could tell he was trying to calm it down the whole time. She's going like blow by blow. Girl got hit in the stands, bleeding.
Yeah. Snitching out here.
Play by play guys like, whoa, hold on. We're not trying to escalate this thing. It is an interesting spot to be, but that thing took forever to stop because there's just nobody there to stop it.
So I was skeptical when I saw this video at first because it's like, basketball brawl, you won't believe it. And I'm like, oh, here's
like
more
a baseball,
clickbait.
right?
But no, like that thing, like actually, that was a legit brawl, man. That was insane. One thing I never understood about basketball fights or brawls or whatever you want to call them is, yeah, there's some punches that get thrown sometimes. I've never seen a double leg takedown. Like I've never seen someone try to tackle somebody on a basketball court because that's what a fight is, right? Like the whole point of a fight is to assert dominance and be like, I won the fight. Well, if you're on top of somebody, you won the fight. Like you see this in baseball all the time. Like when a pitcher and a batter charge at each other, usually someone's trying to take somebody down.
True.
You never see that in basketball.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't get it.
I don't either.
Yeah.
Maybe they're too tall.
I guess. Maybe they don't have any grappling experience. I don't know. I mean, if I'm a basketball player, the first thing I'm doing, I'm shooting a double, and I'm slamming that dude in the ground.
So where do you, like, in terms of toughness, baseball fight or a basketball fight?
I mean, it's a horse
Which is more fake tough?
It's a horse apiece.
Because baseball's, like, to me, the king of fake tough, but you're not wrong about basketball.
Yeah.
Baseball was the king of fake tough until Tim Anderson and Jose Ramirez.
Well, there's been
last
some
year.
good ones, okay, once in a while, but overall, baseball is a bunch of fake tough guys.
Yeah.
Like yappers that do nothing but push.
I mean, that's not basketball sometimes too.
But I'm saying you might be right. I didn't think about it in the basketball context. Like there aren't a lot of like crazy fights in basketball where people are swinging. It's a lot of yapping and shoving.
But at the same time,
and I'm not,
Ron
like,
Artest said, "Hey, hold my beer."
Well, there are some unbelievable
literally,
ones.
and let me knock this dude out quick.
I mean, there obviously. Draymond Green looks like he's going to get in a street fight.
Yeah.
The old Pistons, Celtics stuff. I mean, they were like legit.
Yeah.
There was some legit stuff there. So there's always going to be legit. But I think, like, you're not wrong. Like, there's very few haymakers that get thrown on a basketball court, which, by the way, is a good thing.
Yeah.
All right, so I've got this one for you. Harder place to win as a road game, as a road team. College football, college basketball.
Man, I wish we could have the stats.
Sorry.
I was looking on them.
Come on, Brent. Where are your stats at?
This is organic.
In the culmination of every college basketball game, every football game.
Did not do this pre-show. It just came to the top of my mind because we were talking about Creighton and UConn and other things.
Yeah.
And really, if you want to feel an environment, like, did you see the Virginia Tech one the other day? Virginia Tech student section goes up forever.
Yeah.
They were crazy. I mean, and you can get, like, you don't have to be Alabama to have a great atmosphere. Sometimes here at UNF, great atmosphere in the end zones, like tough.
Yep.
So depending on which game, what crowd, all that kind of stuff, you can really create that in college basketball because you don't need 100,000 people. You can do it in 3,000. You can do it in 10,000. You can do it in 18,000 arenas.
Yeah.
Look at Duke. Duke's a small place.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm going to pick between college football and college basketball in terms of crazy environments to play, like, listen, I played in Kansas City when it was really crazy. I played in Seattle. Like, those were the two stadiums where you could actually feel the energy through your body. It's a weird feeling.
Interesting.
But it can actually, like, it physically affects you.
Really?
Everywhere else I played, nothing. But, like, those two, it's like, wow, this is loud. Now, I'm sure there's college stadiums like that.
Of course,
as well,
yeah.
But obviously at Murray State, I mean, 11,000 strong.
11,000 is actually pretty good.
11,000's all right.
I didn't know you'd go that high. That was 11,000.
Well, I mean, that's the capacity. Now, did we sell out?
Okay. That had a little spin to it.
Yeah. But I'm taking college basketball all day because I think basketball is definitely a game more of focus and mental discipline, if you will, and being so close to that crowd, they can get in your ear so quickly. Like with football, at least, like you're farther away, right? Like you're not gonna hear usually what a fan's gonna say. I mean, a dude shooting a free throw, man, you can say whatever you want to say to him. So I'm taking college basketball.
Yeah, they got like, what's the school now? They got the swimmers coming out there and they're.
Well, Arizona State has the curtain distraction, which we broke down a couple years ago.
Yeah, we did do that. But this is something different. This is like Dartmouth or something like that. They've got the swimmers rolling out there.
This one betting website says, don't buy into the home underdog narratives in college football. Home underdogs in college football cover at a 48.5% clip.
Huh. Interesting. Well, I believe, I'm with you.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking it's the college basketball is the harder place to play as a road team. You know, we crush kids and NBA guys even, but really like the kids, meaning the college guys, for not making free throws. And some of it is, like, it can be atrocious. But if you're in a big atmosphere, that has got to be tough, man. Like, that is crazy. That's not like a field goal kicker. Field goal kicker, too, can be tough. But that field goal kicker kicking from 45 yards away or something, that fans are like 70 yards away. Like, they're well beyond the goalpost.
Yeah.
These guys are literally 25 feet from you, some of them, behind the basket.
Yeah.
And you're hearing it from all in, like, it is right on top of you. I would like to actually try that sometimes. Like, that is something I've never tried. I've never been in that, position.
Yeah.
Where you would just go to, like, Duke or Virginia Tech or you name your place and try a free throw in that situation. Like, even if the game, you don't have to have a clock or a score, but just with everybody going nuts and how hard it is to focus on your routine, your shot, and everything else. And the other part of this is it's real. I don't think we give people enough props for making free throws, because the guy that goes to the free throw line, fouled on a 3-pointer down 2 or 3, and he makes all 3, we're like, yeah, he did it. He was supposed to.
Yeah.
He's supposed to. It's like 0.8 seconds to go left, and the crowd is crazy behind him, and it's win or go home.
Well, this sounds like
that ain't easy.
This sounds like we need to go to our local whatever, LA Fitness, and Brent will give you 50 free throws without any distractions and see what your clip is. And then Austin and I will come up with choreographed routines and stand right behind the basket, and we'll see how you do in another 50.
50 is a lot. It's
well, we got to get
to 10.
LA Fitness has basketball?
Oh, Brent, get in the gym, huh?
That's literally where the best pickup games indoors are. Indoors?
Hey.
They're not at the Y.
Imagine never hearing of a YMCA before.
I mean,
imagine never hearing of a YMCA before.
Most of them aren't doing so hot.
The YMCA's?
The YMCA pickup game is not good?
The Jacksonville Giants pickup games that are at the YMCA.
All the Jaguars, when they play pickup, they play at LA.
Who's playing pickup at LA?
Travis Etienne's there quite frequently.
Outing him.
Outing
him.
Stop
outing him on live radio.
Stop playing basketball, ETN. You get hurt too much in basketball.
Snitching on him.
Anyways, let's lock in on Tommy Agura's got another interesting chat. Let's see what he's got.
So
it's 2 for 2.
I would like to. You can't duplicate it. We got to get people down to a certain spot. Like, we got to go to UNF Arena or Swisher Gymnasium. We got to huddle 100 people at least, maybe 200 for the show, live show, and then we take free throws at the end. We got to blare some music as well, and Austin's going to put like $5,000 on the line to make the intensity go up.
Oh, wow. We're putting some money on the line now?
Well, we would have to. Like, we
now
got to play for
attention.
stakes.
Now you have my attention.
So,
now I'm all in. Let's go right now.
How many
Show's
emojis
over.
is Tommy going to send us today? I feel like
I don't know what that
is. Is Tommy a friend of the program?
I
or
have
is this
no
his
idea.
First time?
Is he just? I don't even know if these are like.
I don't.
That's
know what I'm
it.
looking at here.
Are these emoji sensitive?
That's like Stone Cold Steve Austin melting?
This
I
could
don't know.
be a new game.
Yeah. I've noticed. But here's the thing. You can't see it like on the YouTube chat. So just to let you know.
The first one was
probably from either Twitter or another place.
Looked like a boxing glove on fire, a guy in sunglasses, and a stop hand.
A guy. Oh, okay. Earlier one, I thought we had Santa Claus in there.
We did have Santa Claus. I don't know, man. We're probably getting hacked. This is probably from that stupid quarterback thing we took yesterday. And now he's into our phones, and now we're getting hacked. Now the whole show's compromised over the dumbest quarterback quiz we ever took. All over Kirk Cousins. Hope it was worth it.
It was.
Hope it was worth a 20-minute conversation about how good Kirk Cousins is. Now our whole show is compromised.
It's going to be one heck of a story someday. Let's take a time out here on the show. Brent and Austen Show. Back to some football conversation, although the basketball stuff was fun. And now we've created we got to do something. We got to do this. We got to get a big crowd. I don't know if we got to give them away something so they come out.
Well, they're just going to come show up just because we tell them to.
Well, yeah, we can.
You aren't that
Why
popular.
Yeah, we can.
College
make this
students
happen.
will show up for free food. We can get some pizzas.
That's the thing. We can really.
Right.
Oh, now we're talking.
Peanut butter and jelly
gonna do
sandwiches.
this. I love producing the show live, man. We are going to do this at some point. I want that atmosphere to take the free throws. Talk some more football when we come back. Brent and Austen show on a Wednesday. Hope you're having a terrific day. Thanks for hanging out with us. Just be yourself. Maybe we're talking about being a dad or a mom, a first responder or a teacher. Maybe it's a sports fan. We love those. We're talking about anyone in the Jacksonville community. At Community First Credit Union, just be yourself means being real. When you partner with Community First, it's straightforward. They're people connecting with you, so you can be yourself. I've been coming here to Community First for years. This is the Bartram branch, the one I usually come to, and they have mortgage loans, personal loans, and auto loans, and I'm almost done paying off that truck loan. Just a few more months. Good rates, easy online banking, and friendly customer service when I have a question. It's easy to be myself with Community First. They live up to the slogan in their name. Community First has partnerships in the Jacksonville community with the Iceman, the Florida Theater, the Jacksonville Zoo, and many more. Visit one of the Jacksonville branches or find out all you can do with Community First Credit Union at communityfirstfl.org so you can just be yourself.
Start your morning right. Start your morning right.
A new day, a new traffic headache. But Action News Jack's traffic expert, Maritza Ross, is here to guide all kinds of daily drivers, like the traffic dodgers,
Don't worry, I'm going to get you around this mess on I-95.
the side street seekers,
Now you can exit early on 17 due
the
to...
last-minute leavers.
If you're getting a late start this morning, here are your fastest routes.
So let Maritza save you time on Action News Jax this morning.
Start your morning right.
I like to say everybody has a story, and sometimes we are a part of other people's stories. That's the case here at Nimnicht Buick GMC. My family and the Nimnicht family. We've purchased 6 different vehicles from Nimnicht Buick GMC. Maybe you're in the market for a truck. Well, let me tell you about the GMC Sierra. I absolutely love mine. I've had a couple of these. This one's a 2020, but right now on 2024 GMC Sierras here at Nimnicht Buick GMC, there's special financing. A year ago, we purchased a GMC Terrain for the kids. Financing rates as low as 2.9% right now for eligible buyers on Terrains and Acadias too. Looking for used instead of new? Buy a used car with the Car Bravo program. Nimnicht Buick GMC certifies all makes and models. Let the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville take care of you and your family. Come on out and see the showroom, meet the fantastic people, or shop online at nimnichtbuickgmc.com. Nimnicht, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
I've been forecasting the weather for a long time, and no matter where I go, I always get asked the same question.
Hey, Mike, what's the weather going to be like?
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Mike, hey, what's the weather going to be like?
I don't mind being asked because I always have the answer. Great day for a perfect round of golf. Hey, little rain later today. So go ahead, ask me.
Hey, Mike, I'm heading out. What's the weather like tonight?
It's the same question, even at home.
Mike Burrish, he's got your weather answer on Action News Jax.
Go where all the pros go. Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute takes care of athletes at the highest level, like the Jacksonville Jaguars players. They will take care of you, too. Our team covers a lot of teams here in Jacksonville. FSCJ, JU, the Axemen, the Jumbo Shrimp, the Sharks, and, of course, the Jacksonville Jaguars. JOI covers all those teams as well. And then there's youth sports. My kids play baseball and softball. And whenever we have an injury question, the first call is to JOI. Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute has been serving Jacksonville for 30 years, and they have over 30 specially trained physicians and assistants at 5 locations in the area. If your injury is specific to an area of the body, JOI has a specialist. They also are leaders in robotic surgery, joint replacement, and sports medicine. JOI Rehab has 13 locations and 90 therapists to get you better. Comprehensive care with caring physicians and staff at JOI. From youth sports to high school, college, and the pros, Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute. JOI. Go where all the pros go.
When the sun sets and night begins, Action News Jax is working to bring you the big, important stories at 11 you need to know about.
Live in downtown, from Orange Park,
From the south side.
From all over Jacksonville, we keep you informed on local news happening now and get you ready for what's next tomorrow.
Plus, Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish has the area's most accurate forecast to help you plan for the day ahead.
Live at 11, it's worth staying up for CBS 47 Action News Jax.
When you think sports, you think Action Sports Jacks, the official station of the Jaguars, on location for every game. But the most experienced team in town doesn't stop there. From high school football to the big events in the area, Action Sports Jacks is always on. Coming soon, we take that to a new level. Action Sports Jacks 24/7 is around-the-clock coverage of the teams you love and the moments you can't miss. The best local sports in Jacksonville on Action Sports Jacks 24/7.
By the UNF Ospreys, Joe Mercadante joined us last week on the show before his debut, and they were split with Delaware. They had the old Florida Gators in town this time around, and Gators were too much, 10-0 win. Jack Caglianone homered, hit a double. He's good. He's like the Ohtani of college baseball. And there are more guys like that pitch and play, but this dude's a really good player for the Florida Gators. Look at him. Physical specimen.
Big dude.
Yeah. Brent Martineau Austen Lane, welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show. Some good baseball in town. By the way, the Ospreys go to Gainesville today to play the Florida Gators again, which I kind of wondered about that. If you had, what's the better way? I caught myself thinking about this. I'm like, why don't they just this year play 2 games? They're right here. Like, why go? Both of you go back to Gainesville after the game or today or whatever. Why don't you just play 2 games midweek here at UNF? Next year, play 2 games midweek at Florida.
Yeah.
Instead of the 1-1 split. But I got to thinking more. That's why I kind of stopped myself. Like, well, the 1-1 split probably is better for recruiting because now you can say, hey, every year we're going to Florida. I mean, Florida's got a fantastic new ballpark. That's a nice draw, is to go play at Florida, go play at Florida State, go play at South Carolina, play at these big schools and stadiums. That's a draw for a kid coming to UNF. Mm-hmm. So that's probably the reason why. And it is just down the road. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But I always think it's interesting that when both teams are in a place, last night at like 10 o'clock, and by 4 o'clock today, they're both going to travel to a different place to play. Mm-hmm. It's just weird.
Yeah.
It's like when we used to play the travel ball scene, and Hamby knows all about this because he coaches it. Like you would drive to like West Palm Beach, and your first game would be against someone from Jacksonville. Like, what the hell are we doing?
Imagine if that was Cooperstown.
Yeah.
In the championship game.
Yeah, but that one you don't match. You already had played like 7 other games,
That's
8
true.
games, whatever. But it's different when you're in the championship. It's the one that starts it. Like, why don't we just play this one at home, and then we'll meet you down there the rest of the tournament?
Right.
Brent Martineau, Austen Lane, Jason Hamby. We talking some football? Duval Jags. I can listen to Brent talk Jags 24/7.
Oh, Brent Martineau burner account confirmed.
All right. That maybe Duval Jags. Remind me to send you a hat sometime.
Brent Martineau burner account confirmed.
Bushman. Fix the O-line.
Nothing, man.
That's not it?
No, Cushman. No. Yes, fix the old line. But Cushman, it's funny.
Is that funny?
Do you know what that means?
Oh, wow, Brent.
Yeah, you're good, man. Let's just keep rolling.
Well,
Let's just keep rolling, man.
At first, I thought it was Chad Kushner. That's what we call Kush.
You call him Cushman?
No, we call him Kush.
That's funny, too. That's funny. You don't even know why it's funny.
And I don't even know why it's funny.
All right, fantastic.
Can't believe so I should not have said that?
No, Cushman's awesome. I mean, for our show, absolutely.
Okay. Can't believe they've had Trevor Lawrence with the worst O-line for 3 years. Shake my head.
Yeah.
You can't tell me live?
What Cush means? I can tell you live. It'd be like, the smoking of a certain plant.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we talk about that now, right? It's 2023 or 24. Yeah, okay.
Is that what his name is after?
It might be or it might not be. Hey, Cushman, you smoking a lot of Kush? or is your last name Kushner? Let us know in the comments. And give us some funny emojis while you're at it.
That's going to sit differently when I speak to Kush from now on.
Right? That's what I'm saying, man.
My gosh, I got to keep up. Can you guys give me a new list of words that I got to?
Well, if you'd stop watching Yellowstone and get with the cool lingo, maybe we can help you out.
I don't think that's a new one either.
No?
No, Kush is, that's the OG. Well, you know what OG means.
Well, I do.
Okay, yeah. So Kush is like the OG.
Is it OG?
It is, yeah. Could be an OG Kush. There are strains like that.
That was like a Lil Wayne song from.
Listen, this is a guy. This is a guy that six weeks ago was was applying for a job. Of course he knows all the lingo.
I had to do my research.
You did your research.
Oh, yeah. You got Purple
your history
Kush.
lessons?
You got OG Kush.
Did this come back? Did this start
LA
in the
Kush?
60s? Can you give us a full history
Oh,
lesson?
I can give you. Yeah, I can do it all, man. I can say like, which ones are better in the power rankings right now. I can give you a whole list, man.
Can you make sure if I'm going to walk into something like that again, that you just give me a heads up?
What do you want me to tell you? You wouldn't walked in, you dove right in. I couldn't stop you. Like I'm like a lifeguard, like in the chair. Yeah. If you dive in, I can't stop you from diving in. Now I can go, save you eventually.
Yes, which you did.
I did. Yeah,
you
you're
did
fine.
eventually. Just,
Yeah.
You're doing the saving part.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Patrick Mahomes caught your attention after the Super Bowl, something making its way around social media.
Yes.
I think we have the audio or some audio from Hamby here. This one, I think, is from the parade, but it sounds like Austin mentioned that this was conversation immediately following the Super Bowl as well. So I don't know if time and place is the same, but I think the idea is the same. Let's hear from Patrick Mahomes.
No, for real, though. We appreciate everything y'all do. Showing up to Arrowhead every single week. We know we had to go on the road last year, but I promise you next year we'll be at home, and we're going for that three-piece. So don't get it twisted. We're doing it. 3 times, first time in NFL history, we doing it. Love y'all.
AFL or NFL? Hey,
listen.
You know you're hammered when we don't remember what league you play for, sir.
Is this where you saw the conversation, or did you see it right on the field as well?
So this
right
was
after?
literally right after the Super Bowl, and they're still getting their hats on and everything, and they're getting ready to celebrate. Instead of taking the moment in, which I think a lot of players do, as you should, man. You just won the greatest championship in all sports. Patrick Mahomes is going around telling his teammates, "Hey, we're going to win 3 of them. We're going to win 3 of them. We're going to win 3 of them." And it's wild to me because. And maybe there's other athletes like this as well. But I remember when Jordan won his,
he enjoyed it.
He always seemed to enjoy it.
Yeah.
There was tears. I mean, I remember the one was for his first father and everything. Yeah. Mahomes, there was no sense of relief. There was no sense of celebration. It's all right, now we got to win 3. And I thought it was very telling in terms of his personality. In terms of there's unfinished business still. You just did the thing, man. Enjoy it. And he wasn't even doing that.
Yeah, I don't know how to take it. I think there's some things that stick out at me as you're talking, and one is I wish he did enjoy it more.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the spot that he's in, that he can't even enjoy winning a Super Bowl? I feel like we had this conversation around, we have it around coaches, like Saban, when he would win a national title, or Belichick, when they would win. It's okay, well, this is commonplace. This is what you're supposed to do. If you did not get here, you failed. Because some organizations, and Kansas City's at that point. But I also think, I think Andy Reid enjoys it. I don't think Andy Reid was right away thinking about a three-peat. I think Travis Kelce, same deal. Now, listen, you understand the historical significance. We'll get into that in a moment. But
yeah,
I think Travis Kelce's enjoying it. I think teammates are going, you should enjoy it. That is the pinnacle. That's a lot of work put in. That's 365 days worth of stuff. Even the offseason, there's stuff. And you did it. And you did it more special probably than you've ever done it, because the way you had to do it on the road and as an underdog 3 consecutive weeks. So, yeah, there's a little bit of it, I almost feel bad. Enjoy the moment, man.
Yeah, I mean, a part of me felt bad, but a part of me, it almost scared me a little bit.
Yeah, I get that too.
Because I'm oh, this guy's not done.
This guy's locked in.
Yeah.
He's got that Mamba mentality, right?
Mamba mentality. And it's wild because one of the most cliche things, if you're an NFL player, or even a collegiate player, even a high school player, a football player, they always tell you, any coach, any good coach will tell you to play the next play, right? Whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, you play the next play.
Yeah.
You don't focus on what just happened.
Yeah.
That was the ultimate, play next play mentality. It's you just won the Super Bowl. All right, we're on the next one now.
That's a really good call. You guys, I have said this for a long time, long time. And I don't think we, meaning me and you watching and listening, understand this completely, because we don't live our life like this and we don't talk sports like this. But these dudes are different inside an NFL building, especially. There are other sports and they do their things different. But the NFL building to me is so unique because I say this in, I guess, a positive way. I know this has a negative connotation, But you guys are almost brainwashed to think 24-hour rule.
Yeah.
Enjoy it for a minute, get your recovery on, and move on. Like, that is it, and that is true. Like, people want to say stuff, but that is like fact. Like, you guys move on. You're on to game planning for the next week, game planning for the next thing. So that next play mentality is it. And maybe you just nailed this. Maybe Mahomes is so next play mentality that he doesn't know how to enjoy any play, any moment, because he's built to just move on to the next phase of it. In this instance, like the parade,
Yeah.
And what else is next?
Play next play.
But
on the next beer.
But I think that is like to finish the season when you're working this long and your mentality is always the next thing.
Yeah.
How do you then enjoy the reality of the conclusion, right? The finality of this chapter is over. That might actually take weeks to set in for some of these guys like Mahomes.
Yeah, it's like I said, I mean, I respect it, but it scares me. And it scares me having to share a conference with this guy. You know? Because, like, once again, what you're able to accomplish with the roster that you had on offense, it should be celebrated. You should take some time to yourself and be like, wow, I did a really good job here.
Yeah.
Let me pat myself on the back. And not even that. Like, listen, it's of course he's celebrated, right? And of course he had a good time at the parade and all that stuff before. Obviously,
called it the AFL.
It called the AFL, yeah.
He had a good enough time.
Yeah, and of course the parade was wild and for its own reasons. Unfortunately, someone lost their life at that parade as well. But from the football and Patrick Mahomes standpoint of, yeah, I think there was time to celebrate as well. But it's very telling when your direct reaction right after a game is going, we have to win another one. We're on to the next one. That tells you who you are as a person and what you are as a leader.
I think they were probably guys who were a part of this Super Bowl, but not a part of the one before. Guys, a.k.a. Jawan Taylor, and it would probably be better for guys who have been veterans in the league for longer, who are probably hearing that and are like, bro, we weren't a part of the first one.
Yeah.
Like, kind of chill out. Let me
that.
enjoy this one. I wasn't with you for the first one. I just won my first Super Bowl in my career that I've, maybe is 5-10 years long. Maybe like maybe a Menahu. Is he a big time vet? Like, has he been around for a long time?
You got guys. I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Jawan Taylor's kind of an example, but he's only been around for like 3, 4, 5 years. But the guys who have waited and waited and waited and waited, and this is their first year on the Chiefs, they finally win a Super Bowl. They ain't trying to hear all that.
But here's the thing, Hamby. Whether it's Chris Jones, who's been there for a while, who's like, Andy Reid like tackled him and then got on top of him, gave him a hug. Whether it's Travis Kelce, who's been a part of these runs, celebrating and doing his thing. It doesn't matter if you're a veteran on that team or a rookie on that team. Mahomes was the only guy who said, let's win another one next year. Like, I guarantee everybody else, whether you've been there for a while or not, they're celebrating. They're living in the moment as you should. Mahomes is just the outlier where it's like, I'm not satisfied yet.
But, and even I get what you're saying, Hamby. You should enjoy it, and I think they did, especially those newcomer guys like Jawan Taylor, first Super Bowl ring. I mean, he ain't thinking about next year, or he shouldn't be. I hope he isn't. But Mahomes sets a different kind of precedent. One, because he knows what it feels like. He knows what it takes. He knows history. He knows legacy. But he also knows that everybody's looking at him. So he's the guy to set the tone immediately for the next year with those kind of comments because it's him. If Jawan Taylor said it because he's locked in that same way. Not to say nobody would listen, but it certainly wouldn't have the impact. Yeah. I also think from your standpoint, like what you're saying, there is that historical legacy part of it. These guys are so in tune that they're getting asked about the Brady stuff, right? That they're where their place is, what they're on track to do. And I think what Mahomes realizes that and feels that and knows that. I don't think all our athletes have always been like that. I think it's everywhere now. You know when you're about to tick off a milestone. You know where you are in the pantheon of greatness often. LeBron James knows all the time that he's 842 points away from breaking the all-time. Like, they know. We tell them. They can find it. A lot of those things you didn't know until after the fact back in the day or whatever, right? Yeah. You didn't know you were about to break a record until somebody came up and told you, like that day or whatever it was. So I think they so are in tune, which I appreciate that, by the way. They understand history. I think they have an appreciation for the history of the game. And for Mahomes, it's a most recent history because he played against Brady, you know? Yeah. So he really knows it. He's in touch with it. This isn't something you have to go back to the 50s and 60s about and go read about. for Mahomes. So I think that part of it is pretty cool, that the young guys know the history of the game. They know their place in the history of the game. They play for legacy at times, and that's okay because that's part of maybe keeping you motivated. And now they also know that they can't even think about a three-peat, something that's never been done, unless you did what you just did, and you won 2 of them. And there are very few teams this century alone, it's just the Patriots and the Chiefs, that have even had the opportunity to chase that. So I bring you this. You talk about scared. The scary part for the league should be that the Chiefs are going to be motivated in 2024. They're going to be motivated to chase history. See, I believe one of the big separators between great athletes especially, or maybe even this is great business people, and the rest of us is satisfaction. Human nature to be complacent. I'm not going to lie to you. If I had just won my 3rd Super Bowl, I really don't give a damn about getting my 4th. Like, I'm pretty cool with 3.
Yeah.
Like, I'm good. I'm good. Like, hey, give me $5 million. I don't need 10.
No,
all right?
Sure.
Like, that is human nature. Now, maybe I do. Maybe I would find out I did. If I got to that point, maybe I would find out that I want 10. I don't know until you're there, but I just think human nature is to be very satisfactory and comfortable with our success and be like, did it, man. These guys are not like that. You guys are not like that. Athletes are not. The best are not like that. The most competitive. That's not what necessarily drives them, and they can avoid complacency. Now, can you do that with all 53 guys in a locker room? Well, could you say that the Jags were not as locked in, as urgent, as motivated as they would have been last year when they were 3-7, when they were sitting here this year at 8-3? Maybe. Maybe that's why it got off the rails and never got on track.
No, listen, like in an NFL locker room, everybody plays for different reasons. And I guarantee even in that Chiefs locker room right now, like, yeah, there's guys playing for the three-peat. There's guys playing for a new contract. There's guys playing to take care of their families. Like, different priorities for sure. But when you talk about complacency and, having 2 is just enough, what's going to motivate this Chiefs team this up-and-coming season is that three-peat because no one's ever done it before. And the legacy, not saying it's the most important thing to a lot of athletes, but it's a top 3. It's in the hierarchy. When you talk about legacy, athletes go crazy for that. And if you can say that you were a part of a team for the first time in NFL history who went back to back to back winning the Super Bowl, and you're the only ones to ever do that, that's everything. How much do we still show out the 72 Dolphins? How long ago was that? But they're the only team to ever go undefeated. Yeah. But we still celebrate that every single time a team's getting ready to go, accomplish that. We got to bring them back up again. It's all about legacy, and it's all about setting yourself apart. And yeah, I am afraid because, and as I said, they weren't motivated last year. But with what they had last year in terms of their pieces, especially on offense, and they got the job done, what does this Chiefs team look like? Once again, everyone stays healthy, first of all, is the most important thing. But what will this Chiefs team look like with now even more motivation to have that legacy and to be the only team in the NFL to ever accomplish this feat?
Yeah, I think they'll be motivated. But I want to ask you a question real quick before we hit a break. You just said different dynamics. People play for different stuff in an NFL locker room. Do you think Patrick Mahomes is playing for the same thing Kadarius Toney is playing for? Like, I get that. Like, it doesn't feel like it. I don't know, but it doesn't feel like it. Yeah. So will the Chiefs have a problem this year, potentially, in the locker room? When you've got guys like Reed, Mahomes, Kelsey, even a Pacheco, a lot of that team, but not all of the team, playing for the legacy and the history, because Jawan Taylor's playing for a 2nd Super Bowl, not his 3rd in a row. You know what I mean? Will there be guys that join the team will be playing for their 1st, not their 3rd. So a guy like Mahomes and Kelsey and others that are playing for this 3rd, this legacy, this one goal that we're all trying to achieve, they're pulling that rope a little harder. I wonder if that can be a tough thing from a dynamic standpoint to separate, because not everybody's pulling the rope for the same reason, to your point, and especially with the urgency to take advantage of this one opportunity.
No, I'm not buying that at all, because that's where culture comes into play. And if any team this year was going to fall by the wayside and underachieve, it should have been this Chiefs team right here with Taylor Swift and all that conversation. Because whether or not they want to admit it in that locker room, She was a distraction. You know, how can you not be?
Yeah.
Like, the whole world was talking about Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. So you mean to tell me when you walk through those doors at Arrowhead, no one's talking about it? No one's thinking about it? Bullcrap.
Yeah.
So the fact that that Chiefs team could take all the outside noise, all the outside distraction, the Chiefs were regressing a little bit. Is this Taylor Swift's fault? Travis Kelce only had 2 catches. Is it Taylor Swift's fault? They heard all that noise, and they still blocked it out. So one, that's a testament to just how great of a coach Andy Reid is to avoid all those distractions. But number 2, you talk about a player's coach in Andy Reid, who is not necessarily the most rah-rah, get-in-your-face type of guy, who then appointed leaders to take over that team and say, guys, it's not a big deal. And those leaders are Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Chris Jones, and company.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried whatsoever.
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't be either. I just think that's an interesting dynamic in the locker room. You're playing for different stuff. Not everybody in that locker room is going to be playing for a legacy in this three-peat. But obviously, Super Bowl's a good enough carrot, whether it's your first one, second one, third one, fifth one, is my guess. Brent Martineau Austen Lane, Jason Hamby. We continue to talk some football and more. Noon hour coming alive soon, which means noontime news on the way. Austin's favorite part of the show. Definitely Jason Hamby and his family's part of the show. Favorite part. Noontime news. My favorite game? Miss Pac-Man. What an addition to this building Miss Pac-Man has been. The edition of the month. Might be the employee of the month, Miss Pac-Man. In Northeast Florida, we love hanging out on the back patio, maybe grilling out lunch or dinner with the family, enjoying the good weather, or maybe enjoying the big game on the TV. Or maybe your favorite team in town, the Action Sports Jacks team. This is great, except for when it's really hot or the bugs start coming out. But what if you didn't have to worry about that? Titan Outdoor Solutions will make your outdoor area a comfortable spot, any time of the day, any time of the year. This makes too much sense. Titan Outdoor Solutions can give your home an upgrade. Customized pergolas, awnings, controlled shade, even retractable screens. The solution to beating the heat and the bugs and getting more use out of your home is Titan Outdoor Solutions. And this can even help prevent storm damage at your home. Living in Florida and living in your home is already good. Now make it great. Quality products, custom work, locally owned and operated. Visit TitanShuttersAndScreens.com or call 904-484-7580.
Investigative journalism. It's the difference between the Action News Jack style of news and everyone else's.
I'm Ben Becker. This scam is targeting residents on the South Side.
We investigate so you're crystal clear how a story impacts you.
I'm Emily Turner. Take a look at the fine print because you're still getting billed.
Because our reporters don't just tell you what happened. We break down how it affects you and your neighborhood, which is why people are putting their trust in us. Action News Jacks at 5 and 6. It's local coverage you can count on.
Stop by the new car sales event happening right now at Greenway Kia at the Avenues. $500 in a job gets you in a Kia. And Michael Montiero and the staff here at Greenway Kia are here to make it happen. Experience great customer service and become a part of their family. And while you're here, check out the Kia Forte GT line, full of comfort, innovation, and has driver assist technology. And how about the affordable new Kia EV9, the fast-charging, all-new electrical SUV with high-performance capability, 3-row seats with 304 miles of maximum driving range. Over 1,000 new Kia models, some starting at $199 a month. And as always, get the 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. Come shop at Greenway Kia at the Avenues, located on Phillips Highway. You can shop online at greenwaykiaattheavenues.com. And remember, $500 and a job gets you in a Kia at Greenway Kia at the Avenues.
Before Action News Jacks at 5 breaks today's top stories, know this. We're asking the tough questions for you.
Were you targeting the Tebows?
Our team of reporters are relentless.
Do you have anything to say to your former employees?
Working to find answers.
If we wait in the parking lot, you'll talk to us on camera.
Never never stopping.
Have you paid back any money?
So you know what's really going on.
Your own counsel said it was an investigation.
I'm just asking questions. I mean, is it a conflict in your mind?
Action News Jax at 5. It's local coverage you can count on.
We had a blast swooping with the Ospreys on Saturday night for their scholarship fundraiser, the Blue and Gray Bash. And that night is all about benefiting the student athlete. At UNF, those athletes are in full swing right now. The stretch run of the basketball season, which includes the River City Rumble on Friday night in men's basketball. Baseball and softball season are now underway. Beach volleyball is the next to get rolling, and the golf team is coming off a big stretch, and a successful one at that. Nick Gabrowczyk continues to shine, and in a field that included the Florida Gators, the Ospreys golfer won medalist honors. Next up, the Haight Invitational in March at Sawgrass Country Club for the golf team. There's a lot going on at UNF, a good time to see the finish of the winter season and the start of the spring season. Check out the upgrades in facilities and check out the talent on the rosters. UNFOspreys.com for all things University of North Florida. You can get scores, schedules, news, tickets. UNFOspreys.com. And don't forget to swoop with the Ospreys.
Streaming right now on Action News Jax.
Let's get your morning started.
It's local.
Take a look at this surprising video.
It's breaking. It's weather 24/7.
I gotta keep you guys safe.
It's original.
More trucks, more food.
It's entertaining. Now it's new and free.
'Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it.
Everywhere, anytime. Stream Action News Jax wherever you watch.
Perfect Rack Billiards has a deal for you. 50-cent Wing Fridays during lunch. Get out of work early, get a head start on the weekend, or just take a lunch break. 11:30 until 3 p.m. on Fridays. Every Friday, Perfect Rack Billiards with 50-cent wings for lunch on Fridays. A perfect place to stop in Murray Hill, play some pool, play some darts, maybe some shuffleboard. Now, that's a heck of a lunch break. And get those 50-cent wings on Friday just to make it better. 11:30 to 3 p.m. on Fridays at Perfect Rack Billiards. Hey, welcome back to the Brent Austin Show. Brent Martineau Austen Lane, Jason Hamby on a Wednesday as we are now inside a week until the NFL Combine starts. So here's the deal. Next week, we'll do the show Monday from here. Tuesday, I'll be in Indianapolis. Marcel Robinson will join me. We'll do the show from Indy to Jacksonville. Doug, I don't know which one's first. Doug Peterson and Trent Baalke are speaking at noon and 1 o'clock. I don't know who's going in which order, or maybe I just didn't see that part. So we'll have, obviously, some instant comments and everything else. We're really just going for a day to the Combine. If I tell all this story, will like the other people start to mimic it? Exactly.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't give out the game plan. But that's all right. Keep up if you can.
Shots fired.
So we'll be there on Tuesday and have some stuff on TV, obviously, but we'll be live from the convention center where the NFL Combine is. And that doesn't really kick off and get going, I think, with player interviews and obviously the stuff on the field and bench and until Wednesday. We've gone in the past for a couple of days. We're really just going for like a day and change on this one because we're starting our new Action Sports Jax 24/7 network like on the same day probably.
Yeah.
So we don't want to be gone
what a
for
launch,
too
Brent.
long. Yeah, I know. You're launching me out of here.
Yeah, pretty basically.
That's what we're doing.
What's the over-under of the first Trent Baalke question being, have you talked to Josh Allen yet?
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess it would depend on if it comes from Trent Baalke probably won't have a lot of national folks around him. So, yeah, I would say the odds are pretty good, like a heavy favorite.
Heavy favorite. Yeah.
Heavy favorite. Mm-hmm. Or at least like does it count like in the conversation of where are you guys at, with the Josh Allen deal?
Oh, of course.
Like,
yeah.
It'll probably be asked or phrased that way rather than right out of the gates. Hey, have you talked to him?
No, for sure.
But
I mean, if it was me, I'd be like, hey, sir, Josh Allen, what's up?
Yeah, what's happening? Give us the latest.
What's up, man?
And we may already know a little. If he goes second, which is probably the way it's going to go, then Doug goes at noon. We will have a little bit of an idea already of maybe where that situation lies. So, listen, there's a lot to discuss in terms. The Jags still have not revealed their entire defensive staff. We don't know what it is. So maybe Doug reveals it next week.
Yeah,
but we
close to the,
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's just not contracts done on that, on some of that. They indicated last week when Ryan Nielsen talked that it was basically done.
Yeah.
but
maybe,
just not announced yet.
Maybe they're waiting for me to finish the show up.
Today's show.
Maybe after through the week here. We'll see.
Are there burning things outside of Josh Allen and the Calvin Ridley? He's not going to tell us the Calvin Ridley stuff. They're not going to get us inside negotiations. But we have been talking about it at length the last couple of weeks, and we know Ridley and Josh Allen are the two big talkers going into this new league year.
Yeah.
So we know that will come up. I mean, what else is kind of like a burning question? I mean, for Doug, it's like, why didn't you fire Mike Caldwell? Was that a tough decision or something? You can go back to that.
But if I was going to ask Trent Baalke questions, what would I ask him? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I don't need the whole list, but I mean, is there something outside? We have been so locked in on those two discussion points. Is there something else we need to learn, can learn? Listen, we asked him about Luke Fortner. He didn't really shed a whole lot of light on it. He kind of indicated they'll bring in some competition.
Yeah.
But we asked him a lot of stuff. He took a lot of questions.
Yeah.
And he actually did answer. He didn't just not answer everything else. I think people came away from that news conference he threw some people under the bus and didn't take enough accountability. But yeah, what else is the burning question around here outside of contractual free agent type of stuff that we need to learn?
I mean, I would ask him, give us your thoughts on this past draft class. Is it where you want it to be? Are they ahead of schedule? Are they behind schedule? Where do you foresee these guys playing next year and things like that? I would ask him something along those lines. I would ask him, I mean, you could try to ask him, all right, what do you see in this draft this year? What are some of the needs? But, you'll get a cliche answer. It'll be we just got to we got to make our team better. We're going to keep it. I mean, nothing like that. No, I mean, honestly, the biggest question I would ask is, give us your thoughts on this past year's draft class and what you've seen from them.
You're not going to like the answer.
Well, I mean, you're a GM. Good to know your thoughts on stuff.
Anything for you, Hamby? You got anything you're I got to know this? And by the way, I don't need help asking questions. This is not why I'm asking. I think I can ask questions, and us as a media will be able to do that. I think there'll be a few Jacksonville media up there, but I'm just kind of we have been so consumed because tag season is here. Free agency's coming up. The Jags have some guys that are up. The dollars are interesting, how they're going to rework some of this stuff, where they actually sit. But we're so stuck on Josh Allen, Calvin Ridley, because those are the dominoes first. Before those dominoes have to happen before we can actually get to see anything in the clear and start to make our own assumptions about what's going on. We asked about Trevor, it doesn't seem that's imminent at all on the Trevor contract. So, what are we missing?
I mean, maybe you ask him, how much of a concern did you see the limited cap space going into this offseason?
Then they could shed some light on if they are going to try to restructure or bounce some money out of there or whatever else.
But he's not going to be.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's very inside the business, right? I think this will be an interesting one for Doug, okay? Because I do think under the radar, and at times it's been right on the radar, but under the radar for the Jags, and again, very much a Doug question because he knows the temperature of his football team, and he knows the impact, I think, of that locker room more than Trent should or would, is can you afford to lose Cam Robinson? Can they afford to lose the edge? I come out of this season. In fact, this might be a question I end up asking. Do you need more guys with edge, with personality? And you have a lot of guys that are internally motivated and good pros, by the way. There's a different context to this story. Mm-hmm. But you need guys who on that team is going to be willing to take his helmet off and throw it into the end zone at Everbank Stadium in the middle of a scrum.
Yeah, but he's going to be Cam's a great player. He's done a lot for us. But I'm confident in the backups that we have right now. I'm confident in their coaching and their development. And if for some reason we were to lose Cam, I'm confident someone can come in here and fill those shoes for us.
Yeah. Again, I can't answer the questions for them. My curiosity is how they look at the makeup of their football team and the makeup of their locker room. I really believe, and I've said this multiple times, so this will not be, I'm not going to talk out of both sides of my mouth here. I think the Jags' makeup of their locker room helped them make the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
I think it was resilient. I think there was a toughness to it. There was a professionalism to it. There was a great bond and chemistry. I actually think, though, in some respects, the makeup of their locker room this year prevented them from making the playoffs. And what I mean by that is, do they have enough Cam Robinsons? Do they have enough guys to throttle someone when you need throttling, at a practice or at halftime or whenever? Do they have those guys that are a little bit edgy? Because one of the guys they lost from that other team that did have edge, that brought the boombox out, was Arden Key. Can you replace his performance? Yeah, probably. But did you miss maybe his brashness, his personality some? And that's a tough thing to answer. I don't know the missing piece. They probably don't either. But I feel like the only guy I identify like that in their locker room, and I might be wrong just because I don't know him well enough or I'm not in team meetings or in huddles. The only guy that I identify like that is Cam. I mean, you played with guys that you know him. Listen, Darryl Smith wasn't that guy.
Correct.
Paul Posluszny wasn't that guy. It doesn't mean you're a bad player. Don't take this the wrong way. Those are two of the great pros and two really good football players. That wasn't the way they went about their business.
Yeah.
You get a guy like Roy Miller.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way he goes about his business. A little bit edgy, right?
Yeah. But Roy's, when he on the field, he's on the quiet side, though, too.
Was he?
Roy, yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think of guys like that are in your face, edgy.
But that could flip it. Not all the time.
Yeah,
you don't have
I
to
hear
always
you.
be like
no,
that.
I know. You talk about like a Jalen Ramsey. What you're talking about.
Jalen has some edge. I always thought Malik Jackson brought this.
Yeah.
I thought Malik Jackson, he was a cool guy, calm guy, but when he needed to flip it felt like he flipped it.
Yeah.
Like, I think Travis Kelce, this is one of the things about him that strikes me. He's not always in your face, guy that might borderline get ejected. He's not always like that.
Yeah, but he has had some of those
He turns it on.
though.
He can turn that switch.
Yeah.
Right? Christian Kirk is never going to turn that switch on. That's my point.
Mm-hmm.
Christian Kirk's a fantastic player. He's a great pro. Love him. Might be one of the favorite Jags on this team.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not going to turn that switch. He's not that guy.
Debo has that switch.
Probably.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
he went, what's the corner's name? Not Slay. I forgot who the corner was.
Any kind of play. Oh, yeah.
Gardner Johnson.
Thank you, man. Yeah, Gardner Johnson. Yeah,
Gardner Johnson's that. He's a pain in the ass, by the way. Like,
yeah, but
like you don't even know if you like him when he's on your team, but he's that guy. He gives you that edge.
True.
The Lions will lose that. They'll lose a guy with that edge. Do you need other offensive linemen like that? Those are your trench guys, it seems like, more often, that you need some of that pissiness. That's really what it comes down to for me. This is a game where you got to play with some of that.
Without a doubt. Yeah, I mean, it's a game of football, man. It's a very physical game, especially in the trenches. Some of your, as you say, pissy guys are going to come from, hitting somebody every single play in and play out.
I'll give you a guy that always reminded me of this, like Greg Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Nicest guy in the world.
Yes.
But if he wanted to get that way, you knew he could get that way. You feared he would get that way.
Yeah, nobody ever messed with. I mean, it was a well-known thing in the locker room, and it was a well-known thing in the NFL. Nobody messed with Greg Jones.
Yeah.
Like, throw on his college highlight tape and then get back to me about Greg Jones. Watch him power bomb Lamar Woodley out of nowhere. Because Lamar Woodley kept on running his mouth, and Greg Jones said, okay, cool, check this out. Not even going to say anything to you, just going to pick you up, slam you, and then hold you down in the middle of the game.
I think another way to say this, I guess what I've come on about this, because I think it's a hard thing to identify, and I don't think you want a locker room full of guys like this, but I guess I need a little unpredictability. I want the guy that has I don't know what he's going to do today.
Brent wants Antonio Brown, everybody.
No, that's different. That's different.
Unpredictability to a T.
No, I know he's going to be nothing on the good side of Antonio Brown.
He's predictably unpredictable.
Yeah.
It's the only sure thing about him.
But a little bit unpredictable at times, is okay, I think.
Try to get some wild cards on this team?
A little bit. A few of them. Just a few. I think the Jags could use a few more of those.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm probably not doing an eloquent job of describing it, but there's something there. This is like an intangible
Brent,
thing.
Dogs. Just say dogs.
Yeah, but you're telling me that Josh Allen ain't a dog?
Josh Allen's a dog, but a dog to me is more a person that's going to let you know about it.
Yeah.
He's got a cool sack celebration, but is he getting people's faces? He's still a dog. He's a dog in terms of his production.
Yeah, so you need Yeah, there's a level to it, right? A little level up. All right, 1 hour to go here on the show. Jags have to find that perfect mix. We'll be in Indianapolis next week for the Combine and get a chance to visit a little bit with Doug Peterson and Trent Baalke. And, well, there's what the Combine is all about. The Jags have right now 9 selections. And what are they going to get? What are they going to identify? Are they going best player available? They have some needs. Will they have to shove some guys up the board to be able to fulfill those needs? The process is already well underway for the Jags inside their building, but it hits a new level next week in Indianapolis, and we'll be there for it. I like to say everybody has a story, and sometimes we're a part of other people's stories. That's the case here at Nimnicht Buick GMC. My family and the Nimnicht family. We've purchased 6 different vehicles from Nimnicht Buick GMC. Maybe you're in the market for a truck. Well, let me tell you about the GMC Sierra. I absolutely love mine. I've had a couple of these. This one's a 2020, but right now on 2024 GMC Sierras here at Nimnicht Buick GMC, there's special financing. A year ago, we purchased a GMC Terrain for the kids. Financing rates as low as 2.9% right now for eligible buyers on Terrains and Acadias too. Looking for used instead of new? Buy a used car with the Car Bravo program. Nimnicht Buick GMC certifies all makes and models. Let the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville take care of you and your family. Come on out and see the showroom, meet the fantastic people, or shop online at nimnichtbuickgmc.com. Nimnicht, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
There's never a dull day in Duval. At Action News Jax, we know Jacksonville is so much more than crime stories. That's why we're dedicated to covering every local neighborhood. Real stories told by real people, making a positive impact. Plus, with our fleet of drones, the First Alert Storm Tracker, and our passionate team of reporters.
You know a story about the bad gas that was found here?
You know, if it's happening now and in Jacksonville, it's on. Action News Jax. Local coverage you can count on.
The friendliest golf course in town, the Golf Club at Southampton. Local golfers have no shortage of options when it comes to picking a course to play here in Northeast Florida year-round. Yet time and time again, I find myself here at the Golf Club at Southampton. Easy to get to off 210 in St. Johns County. It's family-owned and operated and renowned for being one of the area's most player-friendly. That's just one of the reasons we hold the Action Sports Jax Dream 18 charity golf tournament here each fall. The Mark McCumber design layout is great for all skill levels of golfers, from the guys who bomb it a mile on the range to golfers like me who are just happy to put it in the fairway, which Southampton has very accommodating fairways. And if you need new clubs, come down to the pro shop. They'll fit you up and get you a nice new set like they did for me. For more information on membership or to book a tee time and see for yourself, head over to golfsouthampton.com or call the clubhouse at 904-287-7529. The Golf Club at Southampton. It's the official home of the Action Sports Jax Dream 18. Make it your home for golf too.
Thank you for making Action News Jax the best in Jax and Folio's Best of Jax 2023. Best TV station, Best TV newscast, Best TV morning show. Chandler Morgan voted Best TV anchor. The Chief, Mike Burrish, voted Best meteorologist. And Brent Martineau voted Best TV sports anchor. And while you're on the go, Best news website and Best local blog, The Burrish Blog. Thank you for making Action News Jax local coverage you can count on.
It can be daunting to fix or replace your AC unit. We've done it a couple of times, but it's a better experience because of Bold City Heating and Air. We visited boldcityac.com. They did the rest. There are not a lot of Jacksonville-grown and family-owned air conditioning businesses anymore. Bold City Heating and Air is just that, and it feels like it. They will help you navigate the process with first-class service, and they have no payments, no interest for 12 months right now on new systems. $50 off any repairs. Make sure you're safe and comfortable at home, and let Bold City Heating and Air help. boldcityac.com.
I'm Action News Jax First Alert meteorologist Garrett Beaton. Well, the sun is up and it's going to be a beautiful day.
Sometimes you just need a day to yourself. And Garrett's First Alert forecast makes sure you're ready to go out and enjoy. Garrett and the Action News Jax This Morning team, helping you start your morning right.
Discover how good your water can be with a new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank, non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We know that at our home. You can find out as well. Right now, you can save $1,000 or more when you bundle the Connecticut Premier Softener with a Connecticut K5 drinking water system. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? Well, CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions to improve it. The higher your water score, the better your water. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242, cgcwater.com. Financing options are available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 143-2579.
That is a quite good-looking clock from the Timuquana Country Club. Ham, you ever been there before?
I'm not.
Are you a big golfer?
Not really. I gotta get into it just so I can have something to do when I'm retired. So I know
like
that process kind of got to start soon. But
yeah, I mean, you got a couple more years before retirement. I feel like, man.
Well,
but who knows?
But you know,
with your IQ, who knows, man? Ham, since Brent's not here right now, it's a real safe environment. Are you a fan of noontime? In terms of the phrase noontime, or are you anti-noontime?
I'm indifferent.
Yeah, but you can't be indifferent, right? Like you have to be. This is like sports radio, so you have to have some kind of opinion about it.
Right. Can't sit on the fence.
Can't sit on the fence. So he's back now. So never mind.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah,
Austin, do you think Hamby likes noontime, considering it's his segment? He gets to do it.
I mean,
I don't
his
think he'd
segment.
care if we called it hating on Hamby. Which actually might have a nice ring to it.
Hating on Hamby, I like that. Just a roasting session every once a week or so. If I was
on Hamby and the Ham Camp,
I just feel like noontime is such an old thing. So
is it old? Like I don't know why I say it.
No one else is saying noontime.
Nobody else ever. Like where did I get it?
I don't know. Do you say supper?
No.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of that one.
You use supper.
I don't use it, but the family back home will. So it's kind of sick.
Why is
it's kind of sick.
Why does everything older have to have a negative connotation?
Because it's the world we live in, man. Get with the program. Get with the program. If you're gonna be the king of Twitter, you gotta take the punches as well.
Like lunch is always at high noon, and that time is
high noon.
So
we're not cowboys,
so we should call it high noon news.
Well, I'm not sponsored by the beverage, so.
Oh, I didn't know that's a beverage.
That's Barstool.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, is
that one of those seltzers?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is.
That's why I don't know about it.
All right. So we're ready for the noontime news.
And we're just gonna be on that fence the whole time.
I'm just gonna do
Indifferent.
I've told you this before. If you ever ask where it came from, it's Casey. Casey hates when I say it, so then I just made sure we make it into a segment.
I feel like, Austin, you're kind of just like playing into the hand almost a little bit.
Yeah, you kind of are.
Well, I mean, I have to hear it every single day, so yeah,
in fact,
call me, I'm playing right in the hand.
What I would like to do as we increase the graphics, can we make a banner right above there, right where it says weekday noontime news time?
Noontime news time.
I guarantee we want to break all the time. Hey, no other sports show in the country is doing this. I guarantee no other sports show in the country is calling it noontime.
Go ahead, Hamby. What you got today?
Well, we got Antonio Pierce with some interesting comments on Patrick Mahomes. He's pretty much saying he's got the Mahomes rules, which is coming after the Jordan rules, like the Pistons back in the day. He said that he really game planned and showed them those highlights, Pistons versus Bulls highlights before that Christmas Day matchup when the Raiders beat the Chiefs 20-14. That he showed those highlights that they beat him up every time they went into the paint, right? All that stuff. Mm-hmm. That he really wanted his defense specifically to have that same mentality, and that going forward, he's pretty much like encouraging when you play the Mahomes and the Chiefs. This is kind of you got to have the Mahomes rules. You got to have that mindset, mentality, game plan to hit him a little extra, get in his head, whatever it takes. And whether teams will listen to that, I have no idea. But the Raiders had no business technically beating the Chiefs in that game with I think 2 weeks left to go in the regular season, and they did. So I would be curious to see if, hey, some more teams don't implement that.
Can you
going
do
forward.
that? Can you get in Mahomes' head, do you think, physically?
I mean, he can have bad games for sure, but like consistently, I don't think so. I think he's too good to do that.
Yeah,
but go ahead.
No, it'd be interesting to see. I mean, I get like, hey, I'm above that, and you want to talk the game, but subconsciously, you go into a game, you know what you're going to get. When you guys played the Titans or the Ravens or the Steelers or somebody like that, you knew what you were going to get. Like these guys had built an impression basically on the way the game was going to be played.
Yeah.
And so you might have to get yourself mentally right, but I bet sooner or later, if they do that 2 or 3 times in a row to Mahomes, and especially if they have success, that becomes a thing.
The only bad thing that I don't like about the Jordan rules is that the Jordan rules made Michael Jordan. Because when the Pistons, essentially out-physicaled Michael Jordan, he took that personally, got in the weight room, changed his body, changed his game, and then became the GOAT that we know today. So just be careful how you talk about Mahomes in terms of having his own set of rules, because you probably don't only piss him off even more.
I mean, we've talked about how much Mahomes is in the gym, and you said that was a lie.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. So now Patrick Mahomes is going to come back with an 8-pack next season, and now the whole league's going to be in trouble.
That would be unbelievable, actually, if he comes back with all the body stuff and he's like ripped, right? Like, because he even referenced, like, I love this about Mahomes, man. He even referenced it.
He knows.
He knew. Like, that's why everybody, when we had that Instagram post, it's like, oh my gosh, people. Like, he would laugh at it.
Correct.
Like, that's the funny thing is he would laugh at it.
Yeah.
I think.
I think he would too.
Speaking of, do you remember? I just love interrupting noontime news.
You do.
This is what I like about Hamby, though. He brings up something that's actually like turns into more than just like a note. Michael Jordan, did he ever have did he play bad against a team in particular? Did he have that team?
Nothing's sticking out to me.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to look it up. Nothing would stick out to me either.
I feel like if you're the greatest of all time, you don't have bad games against like
certain teams,
team.
certain styles, certain. Well, and the reason I say that relates even to Jacksonville is Trevor Lawrence right now can't seem to figure out Houston. Like if you look at him against Houston, it's not nearly as good as it is against Tennessee and Indianapolis.
Well,
like he's actually good sign is he's very good against those two teams.
But immediately that shouldn't make sense because. There shouldn't be a thing because of the coaching changes. It's a completely different team last year than it was the year before.
I know it.
Do you think the sample size isn't big enough yet?
It might be. Yeah, it might be too early to label, but it's trending that way that he plays well against Indy, plays pretty well against Tennessee. He's had some rough games against Tennessee, but also some very good ones. And then Houston is just okay. I mean, one of his lowest moments, obviously the throw in the end zone against Houston comes to mind, right? Yeah. A couple years ago. All right, what else you got for us? I can't find, by the way, I looked it up real quick. I can't find, a team that he never played well against for Michael Jordan. So I think you guys are right. Like, sooner or later, you play long enough, you're going to have good games against everybody if you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got, on another note, we got spring training starts in about 2 or 3 days. It starts this Saturday. And has nothing to do, the fact that the reigning Cy Young winner in the National League is currently not on a team is not being made a big a deal as it should be. Blake Snell is an unrestricted free agent. He's not on a team, and spring training starts in 3 days.
This is something, by the way, that happened. I think it started happening out of the pandemic, but really in the last 2 or 3 seasons, I remember it.
I mean, we've seen it with Tim Anderson in 2019, Cody Bellinger in 2019.
There was also a big pitcher that I think got signed as camp was underway. I can't remember who it was. I thought there was one, but I don't know why that's happened all of a sudden in Major League Baseball. I don't know why these contracts are taking so long. I think Boris probably has a say. My guess is Boris has Snell.
Here's the thing.
Boris has everybody.
Boris has everybody. So Boris has Snell, and then you look at the other free agents, okay? Jordan Montgomery, Boris client. That's one of the top free agents. He's probably the second best pitcher available right now. He's like a number 3 starter on most teams. Maybe even number 2, depending on who it is. Okay, Boris client. Cody Bellinger, also, again, still not on a team, Boris client. And then Matt Chapman, who's probably like the 7th best free agent still available. Like he's years removed from kind of the MVP type years he had with the A's, Boris client. So 4 of the top 7 guys who are unsigned right now are all Boris clients. And many people were thinking look, he mismanaged the market. He he overvalued his guys, and now specifically Snell, like he's going to have to take a lesser deal, or specifically less years, because he's lost a lot of leverage.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, see, I disagree with that statement. First of all, from the outside looking in, we're not going to know because the money's outrageous so much that we're like, they lost?
Yeah.
How did they lose there? But I get what you're saying. Maybe in the grand scheme of things of what you could have had and what you didn't. I actually think from a pitching standpoint, you might be right with Chapman and other guys, but from a pitching standpoint, I'm a little surprised more guys don't hold out even longer, even into the season now, because then it's not such a long year for you.
Right.
You know, I mean, this is a long year for pitchers. You have to stay healthy, report, do all those things from now through hopefully almost November.
Yeah.
Like, that is a lot of time. It's almost impossible as a pitcher to make it through a year now.
I mean, that's almost really what I wish wishful thinking, what I would want the Braves to do with Sale is just sit him on the sidelines and have him throw, scrimmage innings against, in camp until July, until the trade deadline or to the All-Star break, have them ramped up, and then have them ready for the last 2 months of the season and into the playoffs.
Yeah, and I don't – listen, these guys need a certain amount of work. Like, I don't know what that balance is. There's definitely something like that. But I do agree with, like, the mindset of it. Like, it's hard to stay healthy. I think if you put Justin Verlander at his age, at 40-something years old, and you just said, hey, come pitch August, September, October for us, he'd be able to do it. And he'd be unbelievable.
And teams would still pay him like $20 million to do that.
Just for the stretch run.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you really could do it in baseball. You got anything else?
That's it.
Hey, this is very nice. Speaking of, it's not nice how it happened, but the Jaguars, this got brought to my attention the other day, and the Jaguars, I just saw a tweet about this. Michael Patterson is a co-founder of the D-line, the drum line. For the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Okay.
And I saw this floating around that he unfortunately passed away within the last week, I think it was. And so someone put out there is like, hey, hope the Jags are going to do something to recognize him and honor him and his memory. D-line's a big part of what the Jags game day experience and what they've done. And I didn't realize he was a co-founder of it. But the Jags just tweeted out, Jaguars mourn the loss of Michael Patterson, co-founder of the Jaguars drumline. We'll always remember Mike's impact on our game day experience and his 20 years of leadership as co-director of the D-line. So many thoughts with Michael Patterson's family. And he obviously passes away way too young, just 45 years old. So thoughts and prayers with his family, but nice that the Jaguars did recognize someone that obviously had a big influence over the last couple of decades on the D-line and the game day experience of the Jaguars. So many of you probably go to a game or listened or watched or maybe not even know Michael Patterson, but kind of subconsciously knew him.
No, I mean his idea and his, I guess really his being the architect of the drumline or the co-architect, they were a big part of the game day experience for me. It was always cool to come out of the tunnel and having them there kind of lead us out. R.I.P. man.
You're Hamby, by the way. You're a drummer in the drummers in the family. I don't know the history of this, but it's something I know. I know the Jags have it, right? I know that Jags have the drum line, and obviously they call it the D line. And I go to other stadiums, and now I see similar things. So, like, they have their D line, their version of the D line, whatever they call it. And I don't know if that's like something that was 30 years ago, 40 years ago, or this was relatively new here in Jacksonville and others. Because what happens a lot of times in the game day experience, the Jags do this too. They go to other stadiums and like, hey, that's a cool idea. Let's play this game at after the first quarter, or let's honor these folks. Or everybody kind of collaborates in a way, like what works. And like, I don't know where the idea the D-line was born.
Well,
in sports or in the NFL, but I just know I notice it more, and it's because of the Jags D-line.
Right. Well, like, it's obviously a thing in high school and college because of the bands.
Yeah. And by the way, the drummers are like the cool part of the, like,
right.
That's like the fun stuff.
Yeah.
Right? You watch those guys put on a show like in 8th grade, 10th grade, whatever. Like, that's fun to watch.
Right. But I have never really heard about any other, like, I wouldn't be ready to say this, but I do think that Jacksonville was probably very early on in pushing this to the professional level, just because there's no bands, right? So that was never a thing in the NFL. It just stopped in college football, and then all of a sudden the Jags have the D-line, but I know most teams still don't have anything like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna put that out there on Twitter, and maybe some folks have a little more insight on it and know. I don't know the true origin of it. Maybe I should. How about college-wise? Do you have like a favorite? You got to take Georgia out of the equation.
Best band in the land is what we're talking about?
Yeah.
I mean,
like you're a music guy, right? So like
right. Ohio State is really good. They're
Ohio
known
State's
for that.
Unbelievable.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I always enjoy just like during the Georgia-Florida game, and yeah, I called it the Georgia-Florida game because we'll be home this year. Bethune-Cookman would have their band will perform the halftime show. And, and they're the real deal. And just like locally, they're renowned for that. I always enjoyed those halftime shows.
I've been to. It's amazing how in college the band and just all of that is part of the ambiance and the experience. I'm not an Ohio State Buckeye fan, but we've been like before a big game, and you go the night before, and they're putting on a show, and it is like a mega deal, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, halftime is a mega deal in Columbus, Ohio. We've been to Notre Dame, like the night before from a college standpoint, in some of these big places, especially. Like that's the fun of it. I really want to go to Texas A&M someday because I know they've got a bunch of traditions. I know some are poked fun at it too, but it's still
well as they should be. They're ridiculous.
Some of them are a little bit ridiculous.
Bunch of dorks, man. Well, come on, Brent. The whole like what are they doing with the gestures and the?
I mean, you went all in there, man.
It's a cult, man. Brent, you can't. Okay, whatever. I don't care. Give me heat for this and tell me I'm the one that's insane. For
Our future military members.
Okay. Nevertheless, man.
You're not alone in your thinking. But the bottom line is...
because I have eyes. Done. All right.
There are a bunch of traditions and other things done the night before. It is kind of wild to me that is just a college thing.
Could you imagine if the Jags had a full band and a fight song and first down? It's better than just playing generic music off of the...
Are they afraid to do it because it's too collegiate?
I just think...
I mean, where would you put them? It's the cost, probably, because the band takes up a lot.
It's the NFL.
Yeah.
Cost does not matter.
No, but I mean, that's a lot of seats that you're not putting fans in.
It's just more of a tradition thing, Brent. I think just in college football.
I think so, too, right? I think we know the answer to it. Is like, there's some things like, we're too good.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is, like, the experience. I mean, you actually have Daly's place right there. You can put them all right there, perform, and take cutaways, like, during the game, right?
Yeah.
To do it. And actually, that could be some entertainment of people, because people go watch the game over there. Mm-hmm. And so you could actually be entertaining, more band-esque. Listen, those guys are smart down there. They don't need me to help. It's just curious, because I get it why it's not in the NBA. And I get it why it's not in baseball. Like, you have too many dates, right?
Yeah.
But in college football, like, it's once a week. The NFL is no different. It's once a week. By the way, in those other sports, like basketball, college basketball, you have cheerleaders. NBA, you've got cheerleaders. In college football, you got cheerleaders. NFL, you've got cheerleaders. So it's just interesting that the band part of it, that is so big in college football, the pageantry of college football, has never really translated and transitioned to the NFL. And by the way, Jacksonville, pretty good music base, right? I would say.
Yep. Leonard Skinner, Limp Bizkit.
So why not punctuate that a little bit more? Why not maybe try to do something different first? I know we get some halftime bands coming in, like from Bethune-Cookman, or they'll have maybe even some high school bands come in. It's a good time to perform. I don't know. Like, is it that far-fetched that someday we see a full Jaguars band on game day?
I think it is. Plus, we have pools, man. We're already setting the standard. Hamby, with your band expertise, how do you feel about the Stanford band? Are you familiar with the Stanford band?
I'm not.
So the Stanford band is world-renowned because they don't care. Like, their whole shtick is that they could care less about being professional. Kind of like me a lot of ways, where they don't act professional. They just they be themselves. So, like, for instance, they don't wear uniforms. They wear like bucket hats and like vests. And then instead of like playing like a real drum kit, they play like a kitchen sink or like.
Look this up.
Look it up, man. I forgot what they call them, but the only reason why I know a lot about the Stanford band is because I had a friend who played in the Wisconsin band, He was a trumpet player, and they played each other at the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, I'm seeing guys in hard hats.
Yeah, so you can literally wear whatever you want to wear, and it's like they're trying to make a mockery of marching bands. And a part of me thinks it's hilarious because, like, yeah, people do take band pretty seriously, and I'm a former band member, right? So I know all about it. I was a saxophone player. I was in the marching band. I was in the polka band. I was in the jazz band.
Yeah.
The polka band.
Polka band, man. Oh, yeah. That baritone saxophone, keep that bass line. Oh, man.
Can we get Mom to send us some tape on that?
There is some tape out there for sure.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, we got to do that.
Okay, I'll see what I can do. But so then the Stanford band, it's more of just like do whatever the hell you want. We don't care. How do you feel about that?
I mean, it's an interesting shtick.
It is.
I'm not one to really get all upset about it, but
Okay. Well, because once again, there's a lot of people out there that are really upset about it.
I mean, I could see that.
They like for instance, when it was Iowa Stanford, I think in the Rose Bowl, they played so for their halftime show, once again, not caring at all, they played the Farmers Only jingle. In terms of trying to like get after Iowa. You know what I'm saying? So like a little gamesmanship there from the Stanford band.
I'm seeing some afros and
I mean, there's people playing the kitchen sink, literally, Brent. Like, what more do you want from this band?
I know. It's kind of cool. Like, mixing it up in a big time way outside the box. What I'm stuck on the band thing now. Not that I need it. I'm just saying, like,
we're going back to Jacksonville?
Well, a little bit, because now I have this vision of you not going inside for halftime in 2012 with Mike Mularkey, but instead you're playing the saxophone out there at halftime.
Hey. I would love to. I couldn't even say Duval before a game. So, like, I can't get a saxophone on the field. You know what I'm saying? I got a UFC contract, shouted Duval at the top of my lungs, couldn't even get a Duval the next weekend. Couldn't even come to the game and say Duval to everybody. So, no, I can't be playing a saxophone anytime soon. I want to.
So, you want Duval. You want to be the guy.
Nah, I'm good, man. Not anymore, Brent, because now, you know, I'm in the media. I can't be wasting my time with that stuff.
Sure you can.
I can't be doing
Sure
that.
you can.
But I'll tell you right now, if I ever did get asked to do it, which probably won't one day, it'll be the longest Duval you're ever going to hear.
Really?
Oh, I have the pipes.
They
Brent,
put you
we've
on the
been over
clock,
this.
man.
Put me on the clock. I don't care.
Over under 27 and a half seconds.
For the Duval?
Seconds.
For the Duval. I mean, give
That's
me 20.
a long time.
I can do 20.
Actually, would you go heavier on the ooh or the all? Which one are you holding longer?
Hey, Hamby.
I mean, what? You said you definitely set the record for the longest ever. I'm asking what the strategy is.
It's got to be the U. You hold the U. That's the only
It's
way.
got 6 U's in it.
Yeah,
I know, but you could also double up and
it's gonna be very top heavy on the U.
Okay.
And then I'll bring it around with a little crescendo of the all at the end. But it's gonna be primarily the do.
It's a long do.
It's gonna be a long do. It's gonna be a long do.
You just do you.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. We're off the rails. Let's take a break. I would like to see you do the first Duval sometimes. Maybe we get a campaign going.
No, we're good.
Might have to start that, Hamby.
No.
We'll do it.
We're campaigning.
No,
Austen
I want
Lane.
it to be genuine. I don't want to be begging for anything.
I get it.
Okay.
I'll beg for you.
That I don't show up when I'm supposed to.
Whoops. Booking engagement gone wrong.
Yep.
I'll be your backup.
Yep. Now we're talking.
How will that go over?
Oh, dear.
We'll be back. Brent, Austin, on a Wednesday. Take you up until 1 o'clock, of course. From the band talk, back to some football talk when we come back. Just be yourself. Maybe we're talking about being a dad or a mom, a first responder or a teacher. Maybe it's a sports fan. We love those. We're talking about anyone in the Jacksonville community. At Community First Credit Union, just be yourself means being real. When you partner with Community First, it's straightforward. They're people connecting with you, so you can be yourself. I've been coming here to Community First for years. This is the Barcher branch, the one I usually come to, and they have mortgage loans, personal loans, and auto loans, and I'm almost done paying off that truck loan. Just a few more months. Good rates, easy online banking, and friendly customer service when I have a question. It's easy to be myself with Community First. They live up to the slogan in their name. Community First has partnerships in the Jacksonville community with the Iceman, the Florida Theater, the Jacksonville Zoo, and many more. Visit one of the Jacksonville branches or find out all you can do with Community First Credit Union at communityfirstfl.org so you can just be yourself.
Start your morning right. Start your morning right.
A new day, a new traffic headache. But Action News Jack's traffic expert, Maritza Ross, is here to guide all kinds of daily drivers, like the traffic dodgers,
Don't worry, I'm going to get you around this mess on I-95.
the side street seekers,
Now you can exit early on 17 due
the
to...
last-minute leavers.
If you're getting a late start this morning, here are your fastest routes.
So let Maritza save you time on Action News Jax this morning.
I like to say everybody has a story, and sometimes we're a part of other people's stories. That's the case here at Nimnicht Buick GMC. My family and the Nimnicht family. We've purchased 6 different vehicles from Nimnicht Buick GMC. Maybe you're in the market for a truck. Well, let me tell you about the GMC Sierra. I absolutely love mine. I've had a couple of these. This one's a 2020, but right now on 2024 GMC Sierras here at Nimnicht Buick GMC, there's special financing. A year ago, we purchased a GMC Terrain for the kids. Financing rates as low as 2.9% right now for eligible buyers on Terrains and Acadias too. Looking for used instead of new? Buy a used car with the Car Bravo program. Nimnicht Buick GMC certifies all makes and models. Let the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville take care of you and your family. Come on out and see the showroom, meet the fantastic people, or shop online at nimnichtbuickgmc.com. Nimnicht, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
I've been forecasting the weather for a long time, and no matter where I go, I always get asked the same question.
Hey, Mike, what's the weather gonna be like?
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Mike, hey, what's the weather going to be like?
I don't mind being asked because I always have the answer. Great day for a perfect round of golf. Hey, little rain later today. So go ahead, ask me.
Hey, Mike. I'm heading out. What's the weather like tonight?
It's the same question, even at home.
Mike Burrish, he's got your weather answer on Action News Jax.
Go where all the pros go. Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute takes care of athletes at the highest level, like the Jacksonville Jaguars players. They will take care of you, too. Our team covers a lot of teams here in Jacksonville. FSCJ, JU, the Axemen, the Jumbo Shrimp, the Sharks, and, of course, the Jacksonville Jaguars. JOI covers all those teams as well. And then there's youth sports. My kids play baseball and softball. And whenever we have an injury question, the first call is to JOI. Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute has been serving Jacksonville for 30 years, and they have over 30 specially trained physicians and assistants at 5 locations in the area. If your injury is specific to an area of the body, JOI has a specialist. They also are leaders in robotic surgery, joint replacement, and sports medicine. JOI Rehab has 13 locations and 90 therapists to get you better. Comprehensive care with caring physicians and staff at JOI. From youth sports to high school, college, and the pros, Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute. JOI. Go where all the pros go.
When the sun sets and night begins, Action News Jax is working to bring you the big, important stories at 11 you need to know about.
Live in downtown,
From Orange Park,
from the south side.
From all over Jacksonville, we keep you informed on local news happening now and get you ready for what's next tomorrow.
Plus, Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish has the area's most accurate forecast to help you plan for the day ahead.
Live at 11, it's worth staying up for CBS 47 Action News Jax.
When you think sports, you think Action Sports Jax, the official station of the Jaguars, on location for every game. But the most experienced team in town doesn't stop there. From high school football to the big events in the area, Action Sports Jax is always on. Coming soon, we take that to a new level. Action Sports Jax 24/7 is around-the-clock coverage of the teams you love and the moments you can't miss. The best local sports in Jacksonville on Action Sports Jax 24/7.
Well, there's a look at the High School Spring Sports Media Day put on by High School 912 at the Y yesterday. Good to see all the different teams out there. Action Sports Jax had it covered with almost 3 hours of content that you will see coming soon on Action Sports Jax 24/7 and most likely on our YouTube channel where you can see this show as well. Action Sports Jax. Good to see all the different sports teams and kids out there yesterday.
A lot of straight bills there, Brent.
I had too many straight bills.
Getting triggered over there?
Yeah. I'm not.
Put a curve in those hat, kids. Come on.
Here's the deal. Like, this is not me, like, in Hamby wearing a hat backward thing. I'm okay if you want the flat bill. But can we make some without it?
What do we got on the hat today?
Is that a goat?
That's a goat.
Is that tiger?
No, that's me.
Hard to be humble, huh? Hard to be humble.
Did you buy that or was that a gift? It's very important.
This is actually from the Players' Championship.
2 comments in the section saying, "Hey, Brent, talk more Jaguars. We love you, Brent." And all of a sudden, now he's wearing the goat hat. All right. What's
I was
up?
just trying to do my best Jason Tatum impersonation.
Nicely done.
So last year they started this. I think it was last year. Maybe it was 2 years ago now. That inside the clubhouse at Players Championship, they actually only they sell some like the goat merchandise, going way back to the history of the players and when it was built and everything, with the goats eating the grass and stuff like that.
Oh, is that like their old logo?
So yeah, they use this as part I would say like an alternate logo type of thing.
Gotcha.
And so I actually didn't go in and buy it. I had to ask somebody to buy it because you're really you can't buy it in the normal merchandise spot.
Yeah.
So, but it's kind of a cool logo with the
I
goat.
mean, so say you wear that to like Augusta, right? And you're there for the Masters. No, actually, yeah. I was gonna say you wear in Arizona for the waste management, but people are gonna be so belligerent, drunk.
Yeah, they won't even notice.
They don't know what's going on. What percentage of the people would actually recognize that as the players?
I would say it's too new to.
Okay.
I think it's too new. I don't know. I don't have a good answer. I have seen it around town, like in the golf community. So, like, I've seen people on golf courses.
Yep.
And they have like a polo shirt or something.
Okay, with the goat.
So, and now it's like, oh, okay, that's what that is. Normally, I would be like you asked, like, where'd that thing come from?
yeah.
And it really doesn't even look like it pertains to golf or anything. The way the GOAT word is thrown around, it actually could fit anything. That's
Honestly,
why I just told you I'm the greatest.
Yeah. I would say that I thought it was maybe Tiger or like Tom Brady.
Yeah, that's interesting that you thought that way.
Yeah.
Right? And that would also fit. So I don't know what separates. Do I have something on the back or the side?
I mean, I don't know, man. It's your hat. How about you tell us?
Maybe the back has it.
Okay.
Let me tell me.
Not a dang thing.
So it just has the GOAT?
Just the GOAT.
That's a little surprising that they is the GOAT just like universal? There's no like trademark to the GOAT or something, I guess.
Maybe that GOAT. I don't know.
I would have thought somebody would have already done that.
Yeah, maybe the GOAT's open for the public.
Maybe they did it.
Yeah.
Maybe now they've got the rights to it.
Wow. Well, good for them then.
That'd be a flex.
I feel like they didn't do that though, Brent.
But wouldn't you see more GOAT stuff with? I mean, we talk GOAT all the time.
Like maybe that GOAT logo is theirs. But there's probably like other GOAT logos.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
A little spin-off of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe it's tough.
Maybe he's maybe he's on his haunches.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe haunches, is that what it is?
Yeah, man.
Is that what a goat has, his haunches?
Well, no, he can get up on his haunches. Go to a farm once.
You're talking about me
Get
watching
cultured.
Yellowstone.
Get culture.
They don't teach us that in Yellowstone.
No, I'm not going to lie. I pulled that out of thin air. I'm not sure if haunch is really a thing or not. Let me go ahead and Google that real quick. Keep talking.
You got a lot of goats in Iowa, Scandinavia,
There is
Wisconsin.
some, man. There is some.
Maybe, though, it's like one of these fair use things that you can't trademark.
Haunches. A buttock or thigh considered together in a human or animal.
Oh.
That applies. Give me my point.
We have haunches.
Everyone's got haunches.
We got haunches.
Everyone's got
It's a
haunches.
great word.
Wait, read that to me one more time.
A buttock and thigh considered together in a human or animal. Similar, buttocks, thighs, hips, hindquarters, bottoms, rumps, rears.
Very good.
Everything wrapped about in a Cardi B song.
I was going to say everything at a steakhouse.
Yeah, or that. Can I get the rump, please?
Yeah, get the rump.
Yeah.
Hey, a little bit. We're joking about the Tatum stuff. You brought to my attention in the interview. He's like, "Yeah, I'm the best player
Brent,
in the league."
You got to talk to your boy a little bit, Brent. Listen, Boston in need of a championship. I understand that. There's a lot of hype right now with this team. Arguably the best team in the league right now. Best team out of the East. And I think it was Malika Andrews.
Yeah.
Sat down with Jason Tatum and, just tell us about the team and everything. So a little background. I think it was 2 years ago, Jason Tatum said that Giannis Antetokounmpo, in his opinion, was the best player in the NBA.
Good choice.
Great choice. So then she brings up, well, has that thought changed at all, or is Giannis Antetokounmpo still the best player in the NBA? And Jason Tatum responds by saying, with all due respect to Giannis and everything, and keep in mind the way he's saying this. I wish we had the video. I actually got the audio earlier. And you mentioned it, Brent. It's like he's in a movie.
I thought it was like a commercial or a movie scene that you were playing.
Trying to be like way too tough for no reason.
It was really bizarre.
You know what I'm saying?
It was
like,
very dramatic and like subtle. And
yeah, like he's auditioning for something.
It really felt that way.
But basically he just goes, I'm the best player in the NBA. And that was that.
How much of that do you think you have to think you are the best player?
See, I love the confidence, right? You have to have confidence in NBA, for sure. But you got to be careful how you go about things. Because John Morant made this mistake no more than a year ago when he said, the West, I'm not worried about him. What happened when John Morant went to the West? All of a sudden the Lakers playing a little harder, right? All of a sudden the Nuggets are playing a little harder. This is bulletin board material. And especially in basketball where it's like night in and night out, you're going to get those guys that want to try to prove you wrong. Not a good look, I think, from Jason Tatum.
Well, I go different than you on it. I have said that I don't think he's clutch enough to be labeled amongst the elite of the elite. Forget about the best player in the league. I'm talking the elite of the elite. He's not even in that conversation for me yet because I think he has to do more in the postseason. And in my mind is still a couple years ago when he didn't deliver.
Yeah.
And I might be wrong. Maybe that's too harsh. We can all debate about that, but that's the way I'm thinking about it. So I think he also has to do more anyway, but now he puts more of a target on his back for people like me or the criticism that could come from others because now you're going to be viewed in a different kind of microscope.
Of course.
I'm not trying to get you to the elite category, man. Forget about like the best.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another step.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty wild that he said it. Okay, Doc Rivers, Team Doc Rivers or Team JJ Redick? Which one are you on?
Oh, man. If I got to pick one, I'm going with JJ Redick here.
So interestingly enough, if you didn't see what happened, Redick basically called Doc Rivers out. Doc Rivers having a tough time taking over in Milwaukee, and Redick played for him.
Correct.
And said that he never takes accountability. He's always blaming other people. And so a lot of folks that are on the Doc Rivers side of things are like, hey, dude, he helped like give you another chance and make you a lot of money and give you, whatever, X minutes playing time and your role and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And it is always a bit uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable for me. I think a lot of folks like this, but I think it's uncomfortable when players take shots this directly at their coach or former coach, present time or later on. But it is what it is, and he's doing like a real popular podcast. He's a popular analyst analyst right now.
One of the best in the game.
Yeah,
for
very
the NBA.
good. So, what do you think of it? And obviously, you said why are you on Team Redick?
Well,
because
I'm
the
on.
Bucks suck.
Well, no, honestly, yeah, I'm on Team Redick right now because the results speak for themselves. And you talk about a Milwaukee team right now in the last 10 games that has had the same record as the Memphis Grizzlies. The Grizzlies, and I'm not exaggerating, are a G League team. For real, look at how many guys in the Grizzlies have signed 10-day contracts and things like that and come from the G League. It's ridiculous. And the fact that you saw what Dame Lillard can do, right? All-Star Game MVP, three-point contest winner. You have arguably the best player in the NBA right now in Giannis Antetokounmpo, and you have Brook Lopez, who's one of the better centers in the NBA, and you can't win games? You're 3-7 right now? Like there's no excuse for that. There really is. And I get it, it's the NBA, it's a long season, all this stuff. Bullcrap. And I think it was Shaq said it best to Dame Lillard after the All-Star game when Dame Lillard sat at the desk. Shaq's like, you guys got to get those supporting guys in gear here. He's like, because you and Giannis can't do it yourselves. So if you guys don't win a championship, that's on the supporting players. And I think that's the coach's job, right? We talk about this all the time. Being an NBA coach, it's difficult. You have to know X's and O's. But literally, man, if you're Steve Kerr during the heyday coaching the Golden State Warriors, hey, Steph, shoot a couple times a game and see what happens.
You're a button pusher.
You're a button pusher.
And
right?
by the way, that's harder than we're making it out to
No,
seem. You got to push the right buttons at the right time.
For sure. No, you have your Eric Spoelstra, who I think really does get the best out of his teams.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like the Heat had no business being in the NBA Finals. It was last year, but
yeah, he's unbelievable.
They got the job done, right? So you can definitely elevate your players, but to me, a coach's job is to take those role players, those players that are kind of unsung a little bit, and bring their games up. And if you watch the Milwaukee Bucks these past 10 games, it's been none of that. So, yeah, to me, that falls on Doc Rivers. That falls on coaching.
So maybe he's got a point. JJ Redick, we'll see how this thing plays out. But it is always interesting when you get kind of shots fired like that. Hey, back to some college basketball just for a moment. I'm talking more basketball today than I feel like I've talked about in 4 years. And I kind of like it. I just saw this. I don't know how true this tweet is, but I think it looked like it was pretty true. We were talking about UConn, and we were talking about home court, and we were talking about March Madness, all that stuff. UConn over the last 2 years, I think they said. Let me find it. I think it said 2 years. Is 0-21 on the road against ranked opponents. 0-21. They've won 2 national championships.
wild.
I don't think that could have been just 2 years, but
Yeah, I don't.
0-21 against ranked opponents on the road. How crazy is that? That just shows, like, even as good as UConn has been. Here it is. UConn past 10 years. I'm sorry.
Okay.
0-21 on road versus ranked opponents. 2 national titles in that span. They have yet to win a road game against a ranked opponent in the last 10 years. Can that be true?
I find that hard to believe.
That's unbelievable if that's true.
Where's this from?
It's from Twitter. No, but this guy,
Cushman. Kush 420.
it's from Kush. It's from the Action Network, which, the betting app.
Yeah, they put a lot of good stats
guy's
out.
got 67,000 followers and a blue check mark.
Okay. Checks out. He's paying $5 a month.
He's paying whatever.
Take this guy seriously.
That is nuts.
I mean, okay, they lost to Kansas, at Kansas.
See if anybody debunks it.
I'm trying. That's my only job right now, as far as I'm concerned.
Bird Dog says wrong. They beat 2 top 15 teams on the road this year. So there we go. Did we debunk it?
Still looking. I mean, they beat Marquette at UConn.
But this goes back actually to what we said. You don't have to play on the road in the NCAA tournament.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. It doesn't matter. Like, you don't have to play. All right, one other college basketball thing. Did you see this last night? Arkansas and Texas A&M combined for 32 points in the final 2 minutes and 48 seconds of the game. Now, that's a fun finish. Although it wasn't really that fun. Because the only thing that mattered is if you had the over-under.
Sure, exactly.
145.5 was the over-under. It was 61-56 with 2:48 to go, which is at, what's that, about 117 points?
Yep, 117.
117 points with 2:48 to go. Like, you go to bed.
Look at this screen.
You even got on the screen.
This is the coach of Arkansas or A&M, or who is this?
That's Arkansas, right?
Look at his face, man. That's the face that Brent Martineau makes going to like a little league game and seeing all the flat bills. Every single kid's got a flat bill. Everybody. There isn't one. There's not one curve.
That's that's when I go to Lids and I can't find one curve.
Brent's at the Mall of America covering the Super Bowl.
8 Lid stores.
8 Lid stores. Not one curved hat. I love it, man.
Total utter meltdown.
But you go in the clubhouse at TPC Sawgrass and you get one.
Nice and curved, just the way that he likes it.
They know their audience. See that?
Yeah.
So anyway, this ends up with 149 points. That's nuts. That's crazy, huh?
Yeah. It's insane, man.
32 points down the stretch of that game. So anyway, that was a fun one. Everybody loves talking about bad beats. That's the best Scott Van Pelt that they created that segment. Now everybody loves talking about it, just in the perfect time with everybody and the way the betting world has gone. But that it is pretty wild when you see some of them.
Yeah.
Like that. And this is what I say, man. Don't make a living betting, kids. That's my PSA to you. Don't make a living betting. It is hard.
So the whole bad beats thing has taken on like a life of its own, right? Like,
Oh, it
it's
really
made
has, yeah.
Scott Van Pelt show.
Yeah, they've done a
My
great job with
question is, who's it for, though? Because, like, if you betted that game and you lost, I don't want to relive the misery. So I don't want to watch it.
Yeah.
If I didn't bet, I don't know if I really care about it.
Yeah.
I guess
but
if
you
I
do.
made money, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
We didn't bet on that game, but we.
No, but that's
kind
still
of
impressive.
interesting,
That's
right?
very impressive,
See,
yeah.
so I think
True.
it does hit that. I actually think it hits the person more that's not betting.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because you're like,
then.
because here's what you do. You're like, thank God I didn't bet.
True.
Or thank God I don't do that. You know,
I
this
got
is
you.
why. Every time I see something like this, my first reaction is, this is why I don't do it.
Yeah.
Right?
I got
This
you.
is why I say the NFL. It's like, good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck trying to figure it out. College basketball this year, good luck trying to figure it out. Detroit Mercy, 0-26, 5.5-point favorite. 0-26 they were. They were a 5.5-point favorite. They won by like 20.
And there's almost like a competition in the betting world to see who could have the worst bad beat.
It is a little
so
bit
I
taken
think
on, yeah.
that's part of it. It's just like you always compare whose beat was worse.
Well, and I also think when Van Pelt started that show, like they started the Midnight Sports Center and they kind of became that new face of ESPN. Gosh, it's probably a long time ago now, but when they started this was just like a segment they were trying to do to be different. Like that's what happens a lot, you know. But it came at like the perfect time, like this crescendo of, or really not even a crescendo, really just like the ramp was starting to legalize betting. And I don't even know if it was legal at the time, but prior to that, it was a little taboo to even talk about it. And now here they are kind of getting a little edgy with it, talking about it, and then since then, whenever a show started, whenever this segment started, now we're putting lines on TV and showing live bet lines like during a broadcast.
Come a long way.
So it's really, that's how a segment grows like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of what we're doing. We're just going to be streaming because everybody's going to be streaming.
Everyone's got to stream.
Let's take a break. We'll put a bow on this show. And speaking of PPC Sawgrass, Players Championship around the corner. Coming the week of March 11th. Can't wait for it. One of the fun weeks here in Jacksonville. Golf World is a weird one right now, but
replace those divots.
This event is never a weird one. This
Swiss
one's
cheese
awesome.
out there, Brent.
In Jacksonville. This was not from today, but it could be from today, right? Beautiful day out there in Jax. In Northeast Florida, we love hanging out on the back patio, maybe grilling out lunch or dinner with the family, enjoying the good weather, or maybe enjoying the big game on the TV. Or maybe your favorite team in town, the Action Sports Jax team. This is great, except for when it's really hot or the bugs start coming out. But what if you didn't have to worry about that? Titan Outdoor Solutions will make your outdoor area a comfortable spot any time of the day, any time of the year. This makes too much sense. Titan Outdoor Solutions can give your home an upgrade. Customized pergolas, awnings, controlled shade, even retractable screens. The solution to beating the heat and the bugs and getting more use out of your home is Titan Outdoor Solutions. And this can even help prevent storm damage at your home. Living in Florida and living in your home is already good. Now make it great. Quality products, custom work, locally owned and operated. Visit TitanShuttersAndScreens.com or call 904-484-7580.
Investigative journalism. It's the difference between the Action News Jax style of news and everyone else's.
I'm Ben Becker. This scam is targeting residents on the South Side.
We investigate so you're crystal clear how a story impacts you.
I'm Emily Turner. Take a look at the fine print because you're still getting billed.
Because our reporters don't just tell you what happened. We break down how it affects you and your neighborhood, which is why people are putting their trust in us. Action News Jax at 5 and 6. It's local coverage you can count on.
Stop by the new car sales event happening right now at Greenway Kia at the Avenues. $500 in a job gets you in a Kia. And Michael Montiero and the staff here at Greenway Kia are here to make it happen. Experience great customer service and become a part of their family. And while you're here, check out the Kia Forte GT line, full of comfort, innovation, and has driver assist technology. And how about the affordable new Kia EV9, the fast-charging, all-new electrical SUV with high-performance capability, 3-row seats with 304 miles of maximum driving range. Over 1,000 new Kia models, some starting at $199 a month. And as always, get the 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. Come shop at Greenway Kia at the Avenues, located on Phillips Highway. You can shop online at greenwaykiaattheavenues.com. And remember, $500 and a job gets you in a Kia at Greenway Kia at the Avenues.
Before Action News Jax at 5 breaks today's top stories, know this. We're asking the tough questions for you.
Were you targeting the Tebows?
Our team of reporters are relentless.
Do you have anything to say to your former employees?
Working to find answers.
If we wait in the parking lot, you'll talk to us on camera.
Never stopping.
Have you paid back any money?
So you know what's really going on.
Your own counsel said it was an investigation.
I'm just asking questions. I mean, is it a conflict in your mind?
Action News Jax at 5. It's local coverage you can count on.
We had a blast swooping with the Ospreys on Saturday night for their scholarship fundraiser, the Blue and Gray Bash. And that night is all about benefiting the student athlete. At UNF, those athletes are in full swing right now. The stretch run of the basketball season, which includes the River City Rumble on Friday night in men's basketball. Baseball and softball season are now underway. Beach volleyball is the next to get rolling, and the golf team is coming off a big stretch, and a successful one at that. Nick Gabrelchek continues to shine, and in a field that included the Florida Gators, the Ospreys golfer won medalist honors. Next up, the Haight Invitational in March at Sawgrass Country Club for the golf team. There's a lot going on at UNF, a good time to see the finish of the winter season and the start of the spring season. Check out the upgrades in facilities and check out the talent on the rosters. UNFOspreys.com for all things University of North Florida. You can get scores, schedules, news, tickets. UNFOspreys.com. And don't forget to swoop with the Ospreys.
Streaming right now on Action News Jax.
Let's get your morning started.
It's local.
Take a look at this surprising video.
It's breaking. It's weather 24/7.
I gotta keep you guys safe.
It's original.
More trucks, more food.
It's entertaining. Now it's new and free. Everywhere, anytime. Stream Action News Jax wherever you watch.
Perfect Rack Billiards has a deal for you. 50-cent Wing Fridays during lunch. Get out of work early, get a head start on the weekend, or just take a lunch break. 11:30 until 3 p.m. on Fridays. Every Friday, Perfect Rack Billiards with 50-cent wings for lunch on Fridays. A perfect place to stop in Murray Hill, play some pool, play some darts, maybe some shuffleboard. Now, that's a heck of a lunch break. And get those 50-cent wings on Friday just to make it better. 11:30 to 3 p.m. on Fridays at Perfect Rack Billiards. Welcome back to the new digs, the new Action Sports Jax 24/7 studios. I'm going to have a TV monitor down there to take Brent out of the picture eventually. Just filling a hole. Be able to stand up and break down some practice highlights or one-on-ones or remember 3 big things, right?
When you go to the combine, can you record some of the bench pressing videos, and can me and Hamby do like a play-by-play of the bench press?
Yeah, well, I was hoping to showcase. I think I'll be able to showcase that. I don't think they'll already be doing it.
Oh,
I don't know. I don't know what I got to double check that part of the schedule because we've been there when they are doing it.
Sure.
And had the show, but I believe that was on the Wednesday.
It'll probably be like the punters or kickers, so we're going for like 1 or 2.
Yeah. Do they actually have them do it?
I don't think so. I don't know. I feel like a couple of them maybe did it.
I feel like
Weatherford had to do it.
The bench press is. Have we decided? We talked about this before, and you're going to talk about a lot of the combine next Tuesday when we're there because the combine's a very interesting thing, and obviously you did it. But is that the most useless thing, the bench press?
I mean, it's not useless. In my opinion, which I think a lot of scouts would agree with me here, it's not necessarily gauged to value the football strength because, once again, I mean, I played with Stephen Paya, who I think he still holds the bench press record to this day. And, like, yeah, he was a great football player, but he's not like Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think what the bench press test is for is more of just, like, how often you're in the weight room. Because, like, if you're like, if you're like a gym rat or a workout warrior, you can do 20 reps.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you're a big dude and you can't even do, like, 15, then that kind of shows you're probably not in the weight room as much as they want you to be.
That's interesting.
So it more shows, like, work ethic, I think, than anything.
Okay, I get that. I think.
Now, some guys are just like genetic freaks.
Yeah,
right?
I also get that.
Yeah,
I think that now, though, there's no way you haven't been in the weight. Like, you can play pickleball, and there's a weight program. And then you're not going to be involved in the sport. Like, you can't play sports even at, like, the high school level now, it feels like, without significant work in the weight room.
But how much are you actually working in the weight room, though? Like, it's kind of like a prerequisite. You have to go to the weight room, but are guys actually giving it their all, or are they just there to be there? Like, I mean, for instance, Chris Johnson, I have it on good authority, never touched a weight in his life. The Tennessee Titans.
That worked out okay.
Yeah. I mean, granted, not necessarily a power position in terms of having to be super strong, but it worked just fine for him at the running back position.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder, I would love to sit down and say, okay, this guy did 18, or he didn't perform well, but look at his tape where he's throwing people out of the way. Like, so what do you need to verify? I'm sure there's some. This is all cross-examination at the end of the day. And so I'm sure there are some folks that you're like, yeah, I need to see this, or I want to see this. Maybe I want to see explosion from that point, right? Because maybe it's an offensive line or a defensive line or using your hands. Did you like that? I mean, was that?
Yeah, no, that's exactly how we do. Yeah, that's how they do it. You get this guy ready. No, what I was laughing at is how close. Are we saying face to face? We saying a couple feet away? How close will Trent Baalke be to these guys bench pressing? I'm saying face to face.
Yeah,
he wants to see it for himself.
So you're saying with Trent.
Yeah.
He just wants to see extension with the long arms.
I want to see extension, and I want to make sure that obviously these guys, they're tough, right?
And freaks.
Well, here's the deal. I hope he has his strength and conditioning program coach right next to him. Because apparently that was an issue, but not an issue. I don't know. One of these things. Got to figure out.
I mean, he still has a job, right? So he's doing okay. Yeah. So we're doing good.
Compliment him.
Yeah.
And we love him, actually. Good dude. But
Is he crazy, by the way? Not Trent Ball. I mean, I'm saying the strength conditioning coach.
No.
Well, no, because you know, like how straight.
He might be behind.
I
closed
mean,
doors,
crazy,
but
like
no.
in a respectful. Oh no, it's said.
Yeah.
I play with. Okay, yeah, I got you. I remember said.
Which he's great, dude.
Oh, Sed's the
Right.
best. Yeah. He was an assistant when I was there in Jacksonville.
Yeah,
So
and by the way, Bulky was very complimentary. Like, this is still like a little lost in my head, that whole conversation. You heard it coming out of that news conference, and it's really weird to me. Like, I get it. Deep down, I get it, but it's a weird thing to say we're not, like, physically tough enough in the NFL. I have a hard time saying it because it's a violent sport that I have so much respect for the guys that do it, and we all know they are tough. But there's levels of physicality, and that's what we're saying here, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, you can do that in a fight. Obviously, you're strong, you're tough, all that stuff.
Thanks, man.
But there might be another guy that is just stronger, or you are, than him. That doesn't make the other guy not tough or not strong. It's just the Jags have a problem with the physical play on their interior, especially on offense. And they need to identify that. And it's just a weird thing to me to identify. I don't know how many teams I've heard over the years, even this one here in Jacksonville, where that's kind of the thing. You know, asked earlier in the show, like, what are you going to ask these guys? What do you want to know? Well, really the overriding thing coming out of this season, like, I think you need some edge. But along with edge, that kind of matches up in my mind with physicality.
Yeah.
The Jags really need to be stronger, more physical in a lot of aspects of the game, mostly right in that interior, and on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1 so we can get a damn yard in Jacksonville.
If you go back to 2017, and I don't know the answer, you probably know this better than I even do. If you're going to characterize that defense, you know, Saxonville, were they more physical and tough, or were they more finesse and speed?
Yeah, I would say finesse and speed.
Okay.
Playmaking-wise. But I think lost in that sauce is Jalen can play very physical. He's a physical player. And he does that maybe not always as a willing tackler, but he does that beating you up at the line of scrimmage, right? He could do that. And so I think that gets a little bit lost. Hard to be a free safety or a safety these days and knock people in the next week. Can't do that. But I think Malik Jackson had a toughness. Calais certainly had a toughness to him, right? Those guys are physically impressive. Calais is physically impressive. See, the Jags do have that on defense. They've got physically impressive human beings in Josh Allen and also Trayvon Walker and others.
Yeah.
It's really that offensive interior, and really what this all comes down to for all of us is, can you get a yard? And for 2 years around Jacksonville, we haven't been able to get a yard.
Yeah, I mean, that's attitude right there. You know, that's bowling up, getting on your haunches, and making it happen.
You're right. And that is actually what Bulky was referring to, is be more competitive in the weight room.
Yeah.
Make sure you got that attitude, brew the attitude. That really goes back to what I was talking about with the edge stuff. Mm-hmm. Get up on your haunches. We just figured the slogan.
That's it. Hey, shut it down. We're good, guys.
We got it.
Jaguars, we'll see. Talk to you guys later.
We move.
Copyright.
We move.
I like haunches better.
Have a good Wednesday, everybody.